be on the couch with me.
Pete, you know, if you baby talk the dog, it doesn't grow. You end up with a curly ass chihuahua.
Here comes the curly ass chihuahua.
A new addition to the family, I think, as of today.
Oh.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right.
And
Oh, Pete forms attachments quickly.
No,
That dog loves you.
he
you
does.
probably look at him. He probably tastes like butter. Was that an actual golden doodle, Pete?
Double doodle.
Oh, what now?
Half labradoodle, half golden doodle.
That's
Jesus.
too many doodles, dude. That's too much
No
poodle.
shit.
It's a lot of doodle.
Yeah, the percentage of poodle in that dog is far too high.
Yeah, they're just mixing a lot of dogs together. That's just a fancy mutt.
Yeah,
Just so people won't sneeze. That's the whole point.
Welcome to the All Pop No Culture podcast. I am your host tonight, Pete, and I am joined by Kevin,
Hola.
David,
Hello?
and another special guest from my high school days, a little Facebook reconnection, Andrew.
What's up, everybody?
We are a pop culture centered podcast, usually talking about movies and streaming television, all sorts of things in that vein. Tonight, we're going to kick it off with a little check-in of what people have been watching recently. What's everybody seen? I know we're a little late tonight. I really have not had a chance to watch much this week. There's a lot of things I want to watch because I keep, Squid Game, whatever it is, like showed up in my feed. I honestly don't even know what it's about, but I see all these little like satires and spoofs about it, and I'm like, okay, this looks like incredibly interesting.
It's a messed up game show, as far as I know.
Yeah. Looks like Korean Hunger Games.
But is it actually a game show, or is it like?
No, it's a movie about a game.
It's
show,
a movie about a
Well,
game
it's
show.
not a movie, but it's a
Or
series.
it's a series.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of people just said they blew through it.
Yeah.
But I don't do dubbed, so we'll have to read it, which means it limits when I get to watch it. Because some shows you watch and you just like it's playing in the background, and you can listen to it and do something at the same time. And other shows you got to sit and watch, and that's a sit and watch kind of show. So,
Yeah.
kind of
So
like
I've
we were
actually-
talking about Dark last week,
Well,
which is
I've
Dark
started
now on my list.
I
Dark
started
is
watching stuff with the captions on now, just because it seems like there's so much stuff that like I just can't understand when I'm watching it. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if like the audio mix is off on like everything everybody's producing lately, but I find myself like turning the volume way up when like
Your
one
sound
person
system
says
sucks,
one
Pete.
thing. Well, no, because I hear everything else fine. But yeah, it does. But that's the most. But yeah, so Squid Game looks interesting, so that's we'll probably pick that up when one of us watches it. I did the Ted Lasso again, as always. Continues to just be phenomenal. I don't think
This feels like the first Ted Lasso that feels like a Ted Lasso again. The past two were both departures. This is the one where it felt like, because it was Coach Beard and then also the funeral episode. The funeral episode predominantly.
I like the funeral episode.
Yeah, but it wasn't a very Ted Lasso-y show. It was a departure from kind of the normal formula.
It was.
This is the first return episode.
But you actually got a little psychology of Ted, didn't you? Isn't this the one where he says that his dad?
That's the.
So I think that's the Ted
that was
Lasso,
the funeral one.
Ted Lasso point of that episode is that you get the reason that he's the way he is.
I'm annoyed that Sam and Rebecca.
Now he gives that information at the end of the episode where they lose to.
He doesn't say his dad killed himself though.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, but he doesn't give the
does.
details of it. But he doesn't give the details of it. And how much he had to deal with it.
We know his dad's dead, and that it has some sort of an impact on him. But this was the funeral episode was the one where he actually
he unloaded,
goes into the details,
talked about it, and went into everything. And I just, and maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not, but I just got that Cheers connection with Sam and Rebecca. That's kind of cheeky.
They make a joke of it in the most recent episode. How did you miss that?
No, that's what it just popped. Like, I'm like, I'm kind of slow. I don't know. I loved the funeral episode. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I liked it.
I love how Ted still showed up for her at the end. I love that it's a big giant Rickroll, basically.
Yes, the whole episode
that for me was a huge miss. I was like, guys,
I loved
this worked 5 years ago. Now it just feels sad.
The Rickroll never ends, David.
Yeah.
No.
Rickroll is timeless.
I'm still trying to find a way to Rickroll someone in real life, but I don't want to carry around that ridiculous jacket and a microphone and a pair of Ray-Bans. But that's
you don't keep those in your van? I feel like that's like
well,
it's his candy van.
Yeah, I'll keep it with the plastic sheet, the tape, and the.
Okay, so we were talking about the last Ted Lasso, but we'll talk about this one. I really like this episode. Other than like Nate going like super evil.
Yeah, he's been on a weird turn. Like I was like
Nate's
the one
journey
thing
this
season
season
I'm not really
is very strange. I don't know why they've opted for this decision. It doesn't feel, it feels weird. It feels like he earned this position, that he got this position that he didn't really earn. He hadn't really worked all through the steps. They recognized that he had knowledge. They bumped him up and they invited him in. And then all of a sudden he just feels like he should be in charge all of a sudden. Like his entitlement is so undeserved. It's weird.
Wonder Kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like something has to, in this season, has to bring him down to earth.
Well, I mean, Ted's going to have to after this last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to have to be some sort of reckoning for this season finale because this is the second to last episode. So I thought it was great. I thought, but it's just weird that Nate is the season's villain.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
because it was Rebecca in the first season for the, at least for the first half. Right.
Yeah. And then it became Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jamie,
have you watched Ted Lasso? Yes, you, Andrew. No,
good.
I think you're muted.
I'm not anymore. I have not watched Ted Lasso, so I'm just going to be nice and polite and let you guys.
Oh, you got to watch Ted Lasso.
Fortunately, if you haven't seen anything, we're probably spouting a bunch of gibberish that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
we're not ruining anything. You should watch Ted Lasso, though, by the way. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Cool. Duly noted.
I think, yeah. Also, what is going on with Keely and Roy? That was a really weird episode for the two of them.
It is, and I think it has to do with I think they may be trying to set up some sort of goofy love triangle between her and Jamie and Roy, because Keely, when going back to the funeral, when Jamie told her that he loved her, she was very almost nothing about it. She sat there, she never really commented on it.
She didn't have time because then Roy showed up and did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I love you.
But for him, he makes his confession.
Yeah.
Because she confessed something to him, and then she turned it around as a weapon because she was clearly hurt by his confession. And you were just like, oh, Jesus. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end here.
Yeah. Come on. Feels like things were too good too soon, so they had to throw some spice in there to conflict cells. I don't know. And then the whole storyline with the African billionaire coming in to steal Sam away just feels very strange, but at the same time, that dude knew how to rich well. That dude.
Yeah. I think that's going to be I think honestly, I think that guy's a complete and utter MacGuffin to just put some more tension between Sam and Rebecca to bring them back together.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I think that's all that is. He's obviously not going anywhere because we're not going to split our time between Ghana and,
Wait. He's from Ghana?
No, they were going to be in, he's from Nigeria.
Nigeria, sorry.
Is he a Nigerian prince offering money?
No, they were going to play in like Monte Carlo.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, it was the south of France somewhere. And then, and it's I don't think that's going to wind up being a larger overarching plot unless they plug him back in as some way for Sam to kind of work through everything in Nigeria with everything that he's done so far with getting that one company to quit strip mining or whatever it was, which was like a little fun little subplot that you saw happening, and then they just kind of dumped it. They didn't
though. Clearly, this stems from
it's coming back.
That's that plot. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. I agree with you. I don't think that he's going anywhere. I do think it's a MacGuffin, like you said. I think that's perfect. And I do want to say that I love that actor, like the guy who played Sam on Veep, and has done.
Oh,
who played the billionaire?
What's his name?
He's fantastic, and he was fantastic in this role, and I want to see more of that guy. Did anyone see that werewolf movie he was in? I really wanted to see it. It came out like super fast and then went straight to like streaming services.
Yeah. No, I did not. And he is Sam Richardson.
Yes, Sam Richardson.
Who played Richard Split.
And he was
fantastic. He was also in that friggin' whatchamacallit movie, Tomorrow War.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was actually still pretty entertaining in Tomorrow War. Yeah. That movie was not a good film.
Werewolves Within.
Yeah, that one.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't.
It's him and like Lily from the AT&T commercials.
Yeah, Melania Vantrop.
Yeah,
I like her. She's funny.
Yeah, it looked like a funny movie. Like I like both of their senses of humor, so I was intrigued to see it. It kind of disappeared, and I never got a chance to.
It like came out and then was gone.
Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna write it down and look it up.
I'm gonna have to find that.
Now I'm actively intrigued.
Yeah, the only other thing that I wound up catching up this week on, other than my Ted Lasso, was What If.
And I'm like 3 weeks behind on that, but feel free to talk it through. Like that one's not one I'm worried about spoilers on.
It has just stayed solid. I'll leave it at that. It's
nice.
It's still easily at the top of the list of Marvel products that have come out in the Disney Plus era.
Well, and all of those stuff that's happened so far, for it all being in a separate universe, each one in its own universe, they're all coming together now.
Yeah.
For the last 2 episodes, you're having this merger of all these What If episodes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is an interesting idea for the What If, but it again though, and we'll probably hit way more on this in a bit. It does tend to really kind of solidify this whole multi thing that's happening in the MCU right now, and that we've been teasing, and we've been shown little bits of it, and then we're basically Spider-Man is what's supposed to really give us the multiverse in its first incarnation. Then we're gonna have Doctor Strange. Anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, that's about it for me. I've been nothing really new this week, as well, especially nothing of note. I think I did watch something. I can't even remember what it was because it was bad. Like it was something that somebody recommended to me, and I watched like the first half hour of this movie, and I was like, well, this is just fucking stupid, and I don't remember what it was. So thank you for whoever suggested that movie that I don't remember to me. I didn't finish it because it was bad. So you're a liar.
This has been a magical journey to nowhere with Pete.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Kevin, what about you? What have you?
Well, you may not know this, but I've been watching Stargate.
Yes.
I am inching ever closer to being done. By the next time we record, I should actually have watched.
Will that
probably
include
Midnight Mass and Squid Game at that point? Because I will finally not be watching Stargate.
That include Atlantis 10, and all of the other
branch offs. Season 10 of Stargate. I'm in season 3 of Atlantis. There's only 5 seasons of Atlantis. There's 2 movies in there somewhere, and then 2 seasons of Stargate Universe. So I'm almost there.
What about Catherine? We discovered that one last episode.
It's a YouTube video. It's a YouTube like mini series. So I'll probably
was it YouTube Red? Because YouTube Red did some good stuff.
I think it was before YouTube Red.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like 2 or 3 shows that originated on there and then were like moved over to like Amazon Prime, and they were really good. And
like what?
Like Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai was one. I really liked Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Went downhill after it left YouTube though.
Yeah. Red Oaks is on Amazon Prime.
That was a YouTube show?
That was a YouTube one.
Yeah.
I just found that randomly on Amazon and fell in love with it.
It's great. Yeah. And then
you talked about it on the show, right, Dave?
And then Wayne. Yeah, I talked about it on the show. And then the show Wayne. Wayne is awesome. Highly recommend Wayne. That it's just
a Batman prequel.
Violence. No, it's just about an unstable kid from like, nowhere, Pennsylvania, like fighting his way down the eastern seaboard to get to Florida to steal back his Trans Am from his like estranged mother. This is after lighting his house on fire. Like this show's kind of nuts, but also super awesome at the same time. Wait,
I haven't heard of that one.
But yeah, the YouTube Red had some good stuff on there. Everything that I've known of that I've seen, I've liked.
I'm just looking to see. I'm looking at this Wayne to see if there's like anyone at all recognized. I mean, Mike O'Malley's in it. Dean Winters.
Yeah, Dean Winters is in it.
Okay, and Michaela Watkins is in a few episodes. Patrick Gallagher. There's a few. I'm just like spouting off these names, and they're those actors that like, if I showed you the picture of them, you'd be like, oh, that fucking guy.
Yeah, the menace guy from all of the insurance commercials is
Dean Winters.
Yeah, it's Dean Winters. So
yeah, there's some interesting folks in there.
That show is well worth watching. I loved it. I've mowed through it.
It's included with Prime now.
Yep.
I feel like everything Prime that was on YouTube Red, except for
other than
Cobra Kai
because Netflix bought it. Yeah. Then the only other thing that I watched this week was somehow I forget what we were watching, but a couple weeks back, after we finished a show, Superstore kicked off, and my wife had not watched it, so we just today finished our run of Superstore, which is my second time watching that show, and I love that show, man. That show was good.
I've tried so many times to watch that show. I think I've watched like maybe the first 2.5 seasons, and like every time we'd like watch another episode or two, and then we'll go like 6 months without watching any, and then come back another episode or two. I've just never been able to connect with it.
I really enjoy it. It's an ensemble show, and it's one of those shows where you have the 2 leads. You've got America Ferrera and Ben Feldman. And like they have their whole story arc that is, carried throughout the entire show, but it's everybody else around them that actually makes the show good. Like it's all the side characters that make the show fun and interesting and everything like that. Like they're fine. I actually really like America Ferrera, and I really like Ben Feldman, and they're fine. But it's the other characters that make it great. There's Glenn, who is just like grown up Pete. And then
that's Mark McKinney, right?
Yeah.
Kids in the Hall.
Yep.
Yeah, like I see it. There's something, whatever it is that's on after that. At least last season, I watched like religiously, and so I'd always get like.
You always caught the last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes. Superstore.
And it's one of those. It always seems funny, and I'm like, oh, I should go watch this show, and I just never do. And then you're like, not the last people, the only people that joke around and go, dude, you're Glenn from Superstore. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just cooler. That's all. But otherwise, yeah, and that's fucking all I have watched. So not much yet. I plan to be more interesting next time. Damn it!
Usually we are packed, front loaded here.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew, what have you been watching? in the world of streaming services. And
well, it's funny because I think the beauty of streaming services is like Kevin was mentioning Stargate. You can go back in time and catch up on things or remind yourself of it. Like, so back circa, I want to say 2000, I'm going way back, 2005, 2006, there was a show on NBC called Heroes. And I noticed how stacked creatively that show was when I saw Jeff Loeb. There's two other people on there. Oh my God, I'm forgetting their names right now, but someone from Brian Fuller was on there on that show. And then the third person, I think it's Greg Beeman. Greg Beeman did Smallville, I think, for like the last couple of seasons. And Jeff Loeb obviously is Marvel Television, and Brian Fuller has done a couple of things, including Star Trek Discovery as a showrunner. So to have all those three people on one show, and then you even have like Stan Lee do a cameo, like Heroes, I think probably doesn't get respect for actually being like mainstreaming like superhero stuff. I think that it gets lost in the discourse. I never saw season 1 in its entirety in the first run, so I was just playing catch up now. But the one thing I will say that I noticed is I love the era of television we're in now, where people are not making content just to fill up space for advertising. So instead of like 25 episodes a season, it's now like 10 episodes. And I think that's great. So I can't. It's a bit of a slog for me to watch that series. One thing I'll also say, hopefully it won't get stolen or whatever, but I think a business idea or opportunity would be for someone to actually do like a Reader's Digest version of all these broadcast shows that are so long, put it on streaming, so that way you can watch Lost every season, like 10 episodes instead of like 25, because who got time for that?
Well, I read an interview with the guys from Lost, and they said, if they had made it today, it would be a completely different show. Like exactly. Everything that they did would have been done differently, because they would have been filling 10 to 12 episodes instead of 24 and 25. And then thinking about that too, when you take the lesser shows like Stargate, a show that was not run on national television, those shows that had 22, 24 episodes a season always had like a clip show. So like there was always one episode a season where they didn't have any ideas and they were trying to make their advertising money. It's exactly what you're talking about. Like they did
that on network television clips. Too. They
Yep.
did it with comedies all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Fucking Friends, like once a season would have a flashback episode, and you're always like, oh, fucking flashback episode.
Yeah, you're like, I've already seen everything in this episode. Why are you wasting an hour of my time? Yeah.
So to jump on that as well, I think it's all on Peacock. Actually, I just discovered Peacock all of a sudden. So I think so I think Battlestar Galactica is on there too. So I remember like when I watched that show at the time, I was like, this is my favorite show of all time. So I went back and I watched the pilot again just to see, okay, was I just like being romantic or was this really good? Dude, okay, I'm getting chills. I was like, this is amazing still. But as like we got to the end of the 2-hour pilot, then I saw the show kind of slowing down and going back into that broadcast pace. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do this, because I know each season is like long. But that was gravitas. And then I just got to like throw in a few other things I've just seen that I'm excited about, but they're old school. I never saw, this is a bit of a weird one, but Black Swan. This is the one with Natalie Portman.
Oh yeah, I never watched that either.
Okay, so I watched it finally. Darren Aronofsky, apparently he's known for being a little weird or whatever, but it was worth the watch, and as a New Yorker, and I know you're out in Connecticut, like it's like a New York movie, right? And then I am watching Magnolia now in pieces, because again, as you probably can tell, my attention span is horrible. So
so you got to stop,
all right,
and watch Magnolia beginning to end. I've tried watching it in pieces. It makes so much more sense and is actually a ton more enjoyable when you watch it like in one sitting.
All right.
Because the first time I watched it, that's exactly what I did. I never saw it in the theater, and I watched like 20 minutes of it, and then pause, come back, and I watched like the next 40 minutes, and come back and watch 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, this is okay, but it's really kind of weird. And then I sat down and watched it from beginning to end. I was like, oh, this movie's actually fucking brilliant.
What is Magnolia?
An old Tom Cruise movie, right?
Oh,
it's more
okay.
ensemble.
It's a super ensemble.
I didn't get it. I did watch it all the way through. It was a long time ago. I saw it in the theater and was like, I didn't like it. It didn't connect with me at the time. That doesn't mean shit though. I might love it now.
I remember. It's a lot of people look at it as a Tom Cruise movie because he is easily the biggest star in it, and he almost in some ways like in Tropic Thunder, other than Robert Downey Jr. is the most memorable character in the movie. Like I still, just him as that, like this half Tony Robbins, half like pickup artist guy. It's very interesting. And him with like the semi-long hair with like the half ponytail is it's a very interesting look for Tom. So I get why a lot of people go, oh, that's that Tom Cruise movie. He's an amazing character in it, but his storyline is actually kind of at least in my opinion, the weaker storyline in the movie, and all the other smaller storylines around it, when they weave together, wind up being really, really good. All right. I was not a fan the first time I watched it.
All right, maybe I have to give it another go.
Yeah, it's definitely.
There's a couple movies on my give it another go list, so I don't mind adding another.
What else is on your give it another go list?
Knives Out. Super disappointed the first time through. Fucking hated it. So
I didn't hate it, but it was not as amazing as everybody had like made it out to be for me.
I wanted a murder mystery, and when they took that away from me in the middle of the movie, I threw a fit and refused to like it. So I need to go back and watch it like with a fresh eye from the beginning, watching it for what it is, and letting it, because I was sold a bill of goods, and then they bait and switched me halfway through the film, and I was pissed. So
I can get that. I didn't see it in the theater.
I did. I love Rian Johnson, and then he had just disappointed me with the Last Jedi.
Yeah,
and so I was eager for a redemption, and then I was doubly pissed after that.
I liked it. I loved everything they did about it. I'm looking forward to Knives Out 2.
That's why it's on my must rewatch list, because everyone tells me I'm going to love it when I rewatch it.
I was incredibly pleasantly surprised by it. Like I had heard great things about it, and I was like, okay, the cast looks really, really good. But and then I watched it, and I was like, oh, that was just a phenomenal fucking movie.
Yeah,
like from beginning to end, that was one where I was stuck on the edge of my chair, waiting to see what happened next. And I do totally get what you're saying, because the murder mystery part of it does. Like halfway through, you're like, oh, okay. Well, we know what happened. They just told us, but the way they then still continue to unravel it and put the little pieces together.
But they'd lost me at that point. I was so pissed, which is why I'm going to rewatch it. Right. Because I can't objectively look back at it, because I honestly don't remember anything that happens after that point on it. So
I get it. That was another one of those, like, everybody in that movie was so good, and everybody's such a perfect little part that they just like hit it all right on the head. Chris Evans was,
and he was. I mean, because I'm thinking of him as like he has a lot of range. Like, but at the time I was just like stuck on Captain America by what watched his earlier films. He's definitely not just Captain America, right?
Right. Yeah.
But with Rian Johnson, just jump on this for a second. Yeah, I hated him. Sorry. Like after The Last Jedi, I didn't know any of his other work, but I was just like, I don't like you, dude. Like you have no respect for the lore. So I went in there like actually wanting to hate the movie. And by the end, I was like, okay, Ryan, this is your lane, original stuff. Stay away from anything that's already been established, because you are a creative dude and you are, you have that artistic, almost like arrogance about you. Fine, whatever. But leave the mythology alone, create your own. Because I love what you did. But yeah, so I just have to just get that out there, because it was a visceral hate, I think, for what happened with The Last Jedi.
Oh man, me too. So you have to go back and watch one of his earlier films. It's called Brick.
Cool.
It stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's fantastic. It's a film noir set in a high school, and it's one of my absolute favorite films. I talk about it whenever I get a chance. So he did that one. And then he did Looper, which I was also a really big fan of. And it's not great, It's not great, but I did like it. And so I was excited for these others.
Did you like his episode of Breaking Bad? I think he did the one with the fly. Did you watch that episode, or did you watch Breaking Bad at all?
I did watch Breaking Bad, but I watched it when it aired live, so I don't honestly remember the fly episode. I do remember. No, that's the one where
like people talked about how brilliant that was, right?
They're locked in the cook room for the entire episode.
Yes, I actually didn't like it. I felt like as a show, I felt like Breaking Bad is a very consistent show where every episode is really great. And even if you have a weak episode of Breaking Bad, it's still an amazing episode compared to another show. So I just felt like that episode was an example of also him like being like trying to be profound, but at the same time, I was just kind of like, I'm not sure like what you were trying to do.
It was too artsy, I think. Is how I felt about it.
I don't remember the episode. I remember it being like hyped up for because it was so artsy, but I don't remember the episode itself. You know who else doesn't remember the episode is fucking Pete, because he's never watched fucking
Breaking Bad.
Yo, dude,
fucking Pete.
That's I'm surprised.
Okay, well, no, this is what I was about to ask. I'm about to throw another one on there that I'm going to get some shit for. So, which do I watch first, Breaking Bad or Battlestar?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Yeah, unless your life revolves around science fiction, Breaking Bad.
Not to mention, it's like a shorter season. I think it's like 13 episodes a season. You're gonna love it.
He hasn't seen Lost either, so he's fucking useless.
Well, you know what? Watched Lost. I'm gonna volunteer. I have not seen Lost either, but I've heard that the end is so bad, like it's almost like
not if you pay attention to the show.
Pay attention to the show.
Okay,
I love the ending. I've always loved the ending. And I've seen the show like 7 or 8 times now.
I am a recent convert to the ending. So I watched the show through the first time, watched it live as it aired, hated the ending, absolutely detested it, held it up as an example of the shittiest endings of all time. And then I rewatched it with my daughter, but we watched it the way you watch television now, a shit ton at a time. Yep. So I think one day, it was a Sunday, I think at the beginning of quarantine, and we watched season 4, the whole thing in one day. And that's Lost. That's a big show. We trucked through the whole thing. So like we watched it obviously fairly quickly. And then got to the end, and the end like made me cry. I was like so moved, and I was like, I did not understand the ending the first time. I just didn't get it, and it was because there was so much behind it that I had forgotten that the ending didn't make sense. But when you watch it now, because you can watch it so strung together, it makes sense and it's beautiful.
Wonderful.
There's a downside to that though, because for Lost being as long as it was and airing the way it did, there was something special about the community behind that show when it aired, because every week that was the show that people were talking about between episodes. Like if you had like that water cooler area at work, people were talking about it.
That's
the only show
rounds of its time, basically.
Yeah, we've talked about doing this where I would go back and watch Lost and watch it like one episode a week, even though it would take forever just for that to see how that would work. And we could talk about it. But
well, I think it'd be fun to do that with you, even if it was like a separate segment or something, only because like you need somebody that has watched it to react to what you're saying without giving anything away. That's the other piece of it, right? Because there's so much to unpack in that show. But like, I would love to see somebody that's never seen it before react to that show kind of in the real time of how it came out and have those discussions, even though I know the end game answer. Because it's a crazy fucking show.
Nice.
And there's
great.
shit that happens.
I would
in the
watch
first
along
episode,
again as well. It's amazing.
Okay.
I actually broke my sister with this show. She was watching it, but she was like seasons behind. So she was like playing catch up, and she was of course asking questions about characters that I already knew the fate of. And I totally spoiled one. but I did it so in such a ridiculous fashion that she did not buy it at all. And then when it actually took place in the episode, she called me the next day and was so mad at me.
That's awesome.
But she was like,
hilarious.
she's like, I thought you were full of shit, but that didn't actually happen. It was really fun. So it's a great show.
Nice.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, if we are all done with what's new.
No, I got
David
a
didn't.
little bit.
That's right.
I this week, pretty much the only thing that we watched, my wife and daughter are very busy, so they've been off doing stuff. So we only got around to watching the show Hacks on HBO Max.
I want to watch that.
Yeah. I've heard good things.
We finished it. That is a really damn fine show. I mean, that's really all I have to say about it.
Well, it
Jean
took
Smart
awards away from Ted
amazing.
Lasso. So.
Yeah. She's amazing. The whole cast is amazing. The story is engaging and relevant, and I don't know. It was really, really, really well done. We watched the first couple episodes and then kind of forgot about it because we weren't going back to HBO Max very often. But every time we did, we would watch an episode, and then finally it was just like, you know what, let's just finish this thing. And then we did, and we were really happy that we did. So highly recommend.
Was the girl pretty good? I am not familiar with her work, so
I just looked her up on, it doesn't look like she has work. It looks very limited. And yes, she's great.
Cool.
She's funny, she's charming, she's tragic, she's a lot of things. She holds her own right up against Jean Smart, who's just fucking acting her way all over the place. And then her assistant, the guy Marcus, he just looks like LeBron James.
Carl Clemens Hopkins.
The dude's great. He's super great. At first I was like, God damn, LeBron James got chops all of a sudden, but it's not him. He's just built very similarly and has the same beard right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at what else Hannah Einbender has been in, and it's
nothing. Pretty much nothing.
It was Hacks and like a short called I Might Be Famous, and then a TV series called How to Be Broke.
Dude, I could watch that show.
Yeah. Okay, so Hacks.
But she's really damn fine in this. So.
All right, cool.
Highly recommend.
Did really well, especially for the writing, I think, at the award shows.
Well, the writing is strong. I mean, it's about aging comic, and so the writing's got to be funny and timely, and I don't know, it's really good. The only other thing we're watching is Parks and Rec. So that's what we've gone back to for our nostalgic tour. So also because they started a new podcast called Parks and Recollections, and it's got oh Jesus, I'm blanking on the guy's name right now. The Chris Traeger. Help me out here. Is that
Rob Lowe?
Rob Lowe. It's got Rob Lowe, and it's got one of the writers from the show from the very beginning.
Okay.
And
so
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another show that's getting a podcast, and I don't know if it's going to be episodes or if it's just going to be talking about the show. They're doing a True Blood.
I saw that. I saw the ad for that today. It looks like an episode by episode kind of thing. That one had Deborah Ann Wall and Kristen Bauer.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, those podcasts are all spawned because of the
Office.
Right? Yeah.
Nope.
Office Ladies.
No.
West Wing Weekly.
No.
There was a huge deal with that one. So they went back in and two minor cast members started watching every episode of West Wing from the beginning. And then about episode 4, Joshua Molina joins in and stays with it through the rest of the thing. And they get like every person from the cast to come and talk about the show. And by the end, like the final episode, you have Martin Sheen on the show. You've got what's her bucket? She's tall, she's skinny.
I
I know her character
CJ on the show, but
yes, it's
her
CJ.
name is
Allison Janney.
Oh, there you go.
Bradley Whitford's been on it. Like it's it and that podcast, they took that time, and then once that actually about season 6 of that one, the Office one popped up.
And the Office ladies came up because of COVID, I think. Maybe it was before COVID.
No, they came up before COVID because they inspired the Scrubs one, which popped up right at the beginning of COVID. But that one had been inspired by the Office one.
Those are incredibly great ideas for podcasts. If you can get, like, it works when you get cast members and kind of the celebrities, if you will, that were on it to do it. It, like, to just have, like, say, the 4 of us like rewatch every episode of Bewitched and do a Bewitched podcast. It just doesn't work the same way. But when you go and you can,
I don't think you can make a Bewitched podcast work.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know why Bewitched came to my head. It's so fucking random.
Nobody knows why Bewitched came to your head.
That makes absolutely no sense. But like the reason why, like, the West Wing one worked, and I've listened to a few episodes of the Office ladies, like, why those work is because you get all those little behind the scenes things, and you get the peeks at what's back there, and you get those great stories from the set.
Oh yeah, that's what makes it work, and that's what I listen to the Scrubs one and the Parks and Rec one, and they're enjoyable every week. They're always fun.
The Scrubs
always
one?
funny. Well, who does it?
Yeah,
Zach Braff and Donald Faison.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So it's the 2 leads of the show, man.
I assume they don't do the last season.
I know they're going to do the whole thing. They haven't gotten that far yet, though. They're in season 5.
They should skip the last season.
I think that's going to be part of what they're going to talk about. Donald was in it. It was just Zach who.
Oh yeah, he was. That's right.
But Zach's even in the first, like, 5 or 6 episodes. If you watch the show and you treat it as not Scrubs, you just, like, had they called it something else, had they called it New Medical Show, it's actually somewhat entertaining. The characters are fun. But it's doesn't have the same vibe at all as the earlier seasons, and so it gets a lot of shit.
So I listened to a couple of episodes of that one, even though just trying to find a podcast I saw it was there, and that set seems like it was possibly one of the funnest sets you could ever work on if you were in comedy.
Everyone they talk to loves it. Everyone loves them. They get Bill Lawrence on all the time, which is fantastic because he not only talks about Scrubs, but he also talks about Ted Lasso.
Cool.
Because Zach Braff directed a couple of episodes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
And so, they talk Ted Lasso as well. So it's always fun. It's more entertaining when Donald Faison is high. Yes. But Zach Braff doesn't think that's the case, so he's got him on a leash right now, which is a little disappointing. It's more fun when they just let Donald get stoned.
Their interactions with each other, you just listening to the two of them talk, you understood why that show worked.
Oh yeah,
because Scrubs, in so many ways, that show was just dumb as fuck.
Oh, like, I'm doing the rewatch with them along the way, and it does not hold up. It is not as good. But when you hear them talk about it, it's so funny. But the show's not very good.
Yeah, like there's like because that was one that I randomly had gone back and I watched, I think, like the first season of again because I hadn't seen it in so long. I was like, oh, I'll go back and watch Scrubs from the beginning, and it's exactly what you said. It does not hold up well. It's very. The episodes
some of the humor works. Most of the humor does not work.
No.
It's very silly.
And the what passed off very well for sentiment the first time you watch it, on a rewatch, you're like, oh, that's actually like super cheesy. Super, super cheesy. Like the emotion that I felt the first time I watched this is not there at all this time.
No, and that's a good chunk of the show. And it's sad because I really loved that show the first time through. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't hold up. It doesn't ring true anymore. I don't know why.
But I could just watch fucking 300 episodes of John C. McGinley's character, Dr. What's His Bucket.
I mean, his stuff's always good. There's still good stuff in every episode. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's torturous to watch it. There are laughs. They are just not as big and as boisterous as they were the first time. But when they do get Johnny C on the podcast, man, those episodes are always super fun.
Okay.
Because he's just that dude is something special. He's very similar to Dr. Cox. It's not quite the same guy, but they are they share that same intensity. Like that dude is just naturally that intense.
He's another one of those actors that you watch him in stuff today and even stuff like that, and you forget what he's been on in the past.
And he's been in some shit. Like I remember I was watching Seven, and shows up in Seven, and he's the one who's like in the helicopters, they're circling, shouting, "What's in the box? What's in the box?"
He's in Wall Street too, I think.
He was in Wall Street. He was in Platoon. He's been in he was one of those small character actors in the 80s that kind of grew up as he got older than in the 90s. And
now he's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, he's in the last 2 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah.
So we're way off topic now. We've covered Scrubs and the films of Johnny C. McGinley.
Yeah. So, anybody anything else interesting that they've been watching? I just in what we've been talking there. Not that it really matters that much. Soph and I are finally into about midway through season 7 of The Office.
Nice.
It's fun to watch that show with someone who's never seen it and hasn't seen in syndication and reruns as they've been on, because the jokes become fresh again when you hear someone else laughing about it.
There are jokes in that show.
Oh, I know you don't like The Office. That's right.
I've never connected. I've tried so many times. I just don't get the humor. It doesn't land for me.
It's for funny people.
So you don't like it either?
I love it.
I wish I love it. I wish I could love it, because the people love it so much that I keep wanting to find whatever the love is. I've never gotten there.
It's because it's a safe cringe. You can
sit there. I'm never gonna want that.
Michael Scott is possibly the cringiest character ever to be on TV. He opens his mouth and you're like, oh my God, bro, shut up. You're not like as a character, you're not actually saying this. This isn't actually happening. And it works for me. I didn't watch it the first time it was on. I didn't pick it up until around right now, right where Sophie and I are getting to around season 7. Saber's taken over. You got What's His Bucket, who was in Silicon Valley. Tall, skinny, goofy. I'm forgetting the character's name, but he comes on, and all of a sudden, the show starts to this is the seasons where it starts to slow down. So I came to the show into the seasons when people weren't that fond of it, and I wound up then, as I was watching the new episodes in those last few seasons, going back and rewatching everything from the beginning. And I totally get it. I can understand why people don't like it, or why you don't like it, David. Most people do. It is very cringy, but you have to be able to, like that documentary single cam style.
I love the documentary single cam style. It's the cringy that I don't like. There is no safe cringy for me. Cringy's cringy. I do we don't get along. So that's what it is. That's precisely what I'm always like, oh God, this show. Anytime they would say something, I'd be like, Jesus, why am I watching this again?
It is, I will say this, in watching it back, and obviously it's just part of the whole premise. But as cringy as Michael is, you watch it and you're like, how is this guy still in charge of this office? Forget their numbers or whatever they,
That's
however they
the
work.
biggest reason why I can't watch the show, because I spend the entire time going, he'd be fired. He'd be fired.
like there's no way, and it's good because the show does try to kind of ground things in a form of reality, if you will, but there's no way that dude still has a job. There's no way Dwight still has a job. There's
not even after the pilot.
That's what I'm saying.
That office is gone. No way. If they had a rotating cast where every week it was someone new doing something, that I might have been in for it.
Yeah.
And they all got fired at the end. I'd have been okay, well, I'm satisfied now. That would be a really entertaining show. Let's make that show.
Yeah, boom.
Just
I wanted to throw out one more thing selfishly, but Cowboy Bebop. Has anybody heard of that show or the anime?
Yeah, I've not watched.
You're talking to the generation that loved Cowboy Bebop, man.
So basically,
did the live action start?
Not yet. John chose, but I went to Hulu and rewatched it. Now I actually am an anime fan, but I always have to caveat it though, because I think that today's anime is not like what I'm into. I do obviously Attack on Titan is actually legit. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to say it for everyone. It's my favorite show of all time, period. Of live action, animated, whatever. It's my number one show. It's that good.
You're actually in the right place for that view on anime, because there's very specific anime we all kind of like and appreciate. And then the rest of it, I'm like,
no. So I'm old school. I'm Macross. I'm 80s, some 90s. Evangelion I like. Anyway, so I'm watching it on Hulu right now, and I will admit, part of me is kind of like, man, I wonder if this is just overrated. But then the other thing, this is a bit of a rant now, is you guys watch Studio Ghibli stuff like Spirited Away, or I personally did not get Spirited Away at all. I think it's horrible. Actually, it makes me kind of nauseous. That's how much I hated it. But now I'm going off tangent. Point is, I'm watching Cowboy Bebop right now. Just to catch up, because when Netflix series does come out, I want to be able to actually see and compare and contrast with the live action with the anime. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on Cowboy Bebop or anime in general before we move on, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I think Cowboy Bebop's one of my favorite animes of all time. I watch the shit out of it. I have every single DVD in my fucking garage, because that's how you got it when it came out, was on DVD. So I have all of them. Some of them were played to the point where they don't even work very well anymore. So I have not seen it in many, many years. I did try and rewatch it with my daughter probably 5 or 6 years ago, and she just wasn't in for it. And I don't even know if she would be now. But I think she'll dig the live action show. I think that will feel fresh and new and relevant. And the trailer looks fantastic. I mean, I had chills. It was so good.
It's just you mentioned it brought it on. Yep.
Oh, that's well, because they showed, I think, what it was, the opening sequence.
Correct, didn't it?
And it is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. And I'm in a couple of Facebook groups with some people that were complaining about that.
People will complain about anything.
Which, obviously. But a lot of they didn't like how What's Her Bucket isn't hypersexualized,
right?
In the live action, that was a big.
She doesn't need to be.
No, she doesn't. It doesn't. The character, the character itself isn't.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That was always I chimed in right away. Somebody commented that they're like, well, the shorts kind of fit her, and she's not showing the cleavage the way the character did. I'm like, okay, dude, that
was unnecessary. It didn't actually.
It was exactly.
Yeah,
it didn't serve the character. She never used her sexuality as a weapon. So the idea that she had to be all scantily clad like that didn't make any sense at all. That was just that stylized anime of the time period that came out. And it's like, oh, look, she's got big boobs and little clothes and da 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 da. And that's just the way it was. But the character doesn't actually have to be. There's nothing hinging on her.
And she's not sexy at all in the show. She is she's the cringy one typically.
I'm looking forward to that when that comes out.
Yeah,
cool.
It's funny that you brought that up because that also made me think about. There was one other thing that I watched. So I finished watching Visions.
Me too.
I went back and started watching them all. I also went and watched in the extras. They have like another little like 5-minute kind of making of each segment where they talk to each studio that they did. This again, even if you're not an anime fan at all, go and watch these.
That sounds cool. Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. And the like I forgot like some of these, like the guys who did the Ninth Jedi. The one where so that one, that's the same studio that did Ghost in the Shell.
Oh.
You know, the original Ghost in the Shell. And it's to see and hear these guys talk about it. It's funny because everybody echoes exactly what we said the first time when we talked about it the first time, how it's, aside from being anime, it also still has a very Japanese aesthetic to the way the stories are told.
Yeah.
And everything else. And
it was great.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a complaint. Like some I liked better than others, but I just liked all of it and I wanted more. When it ended and it didn't have more, I was like, oh
yeah, no.
There was a few in there that I probably wouldn't watch again, but the ones that were good were really good.
Oh, like,
I mean, I still think the first one was the best one.
Yeah, the first one. I want a series of the first one. I want a Ninth Jedi. I want that. Like, I want more. And it's got a season 2.
Yeah, they're doing
coming out. Like they're doing a season 2. So I would hope that they're going to just expand on the ones they have. And it's interesting because you go back and watch, or you watch the little making of behind, and I kind of thought, but I was never 100% on the first one, that the was a Sith as well. I thought, oh, he's just got a red saber because he's collecting all the red kyber crystals and everything else. No, it's like, it's confirmed he's a Sith, and that was
I got that feeling. I mean, that fits the whole aesthetic of the thing, like just kind of a guy that's been down the shitty path, like you've got all that's, because that's what Westerns are too, because Westerns are taken from Japanese films in a lot of cases, and it's never, they're always the anti-hero, they're always the bad guy trying to kind of clean up their lives and get through. What's funny is the episode where the dude has the girl on his back, and he's like it's not the Ninth Jedi,
the wedding one.
The Village Bride, I think is what's called, or Village Princess. One of the girls on there is from Superstore, which I was watching. So I caught her voice, and I was like, wait, and like I had to look it up, but I was like, fuck.
I had a couple of times where someone would pop up and be like, oh, I know who that one is.
A couple of them have some big names in them.
Yeah. Really excited for more.
I that was totally worth a watch for me. And going back to that first one and watching, it's worth it to watch the little extras, the little making of behind it. They're short, but they're really, really good. And we're joking, not to like toot our own horns, but like it's so obvious because it's what they did, but they go kind of in depth about how hard they wanted to make it look like a Kurosawa film. Mm-hmm. That first one, like they
well,
were,
I mean, that was pretty damn obvious. If you'd seen Kurosawa,
exactly,
you could see that in
it's interesting though, because they didn't take it like, oh, we use this as a jumping off point. I mean, like the director and the producer literally say, oh no, we were literally trying to make this look like Seven Samurai, a little Lone Wolf and Cub, although that's not Kurosawa, but that same kind of feel. Like they were like, this is what we were trying to do, and they just came out boldfaced and said it. That was cool because it is obvious. I mean, you watch it, and if you watch any Kurosawa film at all, you're like,
there's no doubt.
They had the scene composition, they had the movement throughout the scene, they had dynamic shots that were long, and
it was black and white. Like everything about it was Kurosawa. I did love that it had the
Kurosawa loved weather, so of course they animated rain. So I mean, it's really well done.
No, Andrew, I suggested that to you. Have you been able to watch any of Visions?
Not yet, but it's funny because I got like 2 more suggestions like in my Facebook inbox. It's not even a matter of if, it's a matter of when I'm gonna see it.
Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it.
And speaking of what, and I'm still 1 episode behind on What If, so I've already been spoiled with the whole like, why didn't Vision just like saw Thanos in half? So anyway, I'm gonna get on that for sure.
It's really worth the watch. Like I said, even for people who aren't anime fans, if you just appreciate animation at all, you should watch it because it's just, they're all so pretty.
The reason why I just want to jump in is because even like going back, like when the Animatrix came out, I'm sure everyone's here has seen that. Like anime is like, I love anime because you're able to tell like really awesome stories with, as you were saying, gorgeous visuals, and the storytelling isn't so conventional. So you're able to really tell more interesting stories. So this is totally up my alley. I think I'm just kind of like a little burned out because I was a big Star Wars fan, but ever since the sequel trilogy, it kind of lost its luster for me. And that's why I'm a little less ravenous for Star Wars as I used to be.
I totally, and you and I have talked about this on Facebook. I totally get that, but The Mandalorian,
that
erased
redeemed it.
all, like, I don't want to say erased mistakes for me, but it completely cleansed my palate of the films and the problems that it had. Like I won't necessarily go back and watch them on the regular unless I'm doing like, a full watch through again, because Star Wars nerds, and that's just kind of what we do. But The Mandalorian was such a breath of fresh air for that after that I was kind of like, it makes up for it. I'm ready for more Star Wars now, because it was after like Rise of Skywalker, I was just kind of like, yeah, dude, I could use the Star Wars break. Like, I know they've got some stuff coming out, and this Mandalorian thing looks cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've only seen Rise twice. I think I saw it the first time in the theater, and then I saw it a second time in the theater with the Legion, and I remember being bored the second time and just being like, God damn it. I felt terrible being bored at a screening of this film, like surrounded by the hardest of hardcore Star Wars fans. And I'm sitting here going, this movie sucks.
I remember leaving The Last Jedi, like, because I remember leaving it and then going, that was good, right? Like, in my head, I was like, that was good. Like, it was good. It was good. Like, I was convincing myself it was good. And then the fact that I'm like, you're telling yourself it was a good movie, that's not a good sign. Like, you shouldn't have to like argue with yourself. I will say this though. Me personally, I think it's a gorgeously shot film. It might be, in my opinion, the best looking of all the films, in my opinion. Like, just the way it looks. I mean,
there are some beautiful shots, like the fight on Crate.
Yes, the sand.
Like, is so like that is beautiful. Yeah. Well, there's some. Look, The Last Jedi, I think, is not a good movie. I think plot-wise, there's so many holes and problems with it. Sub stories that are completely unnecessary and dumb. I mean, the movie is riddled with problems. There's also some terribly cool shit in there at the same time. Yes. So
I've always said that the sequels, I don't dislike them as much as everybody else. I don't have a problem with them. But the problem that I do have is that they were not planned out.
Thank you.
That's everyone's
and
problem.
You have J.J. Abrams, who is a fucking showrunner. Like, this dude put shit together, and it's like he did the first one and then was like, okay, guys, go do whatever it is you want. Then Ryan Johnson did it, and then he's like, well, shit, I got to take it back. But he didn't
and spends
really
15
tie
minutes
in the
in the
shit
third movie.
Ryan Johnson did. Yeah, like, it was just it was just a mess. It was just a poorly made story-wise trilogy. Like, there was no cohesion between the three movies other than the characters being there.
Yeah, it was like J.J. Abrams was in an improv scene, and he set up the beginning of the scene, and he turned to his partner, and his partner, instead of saying yes and, went no.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Well,
Colin Trevorrow was like, I want nothing to do with this. I'm saving my name. I'm out. And then JJ's like, shit, what do I do?
Well, that was because the first one, I'm blanking on its name now, was not
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens was not the greatest. I saw what they did with it. I'm like, okay,
it was fun, and it was honestly a very good. It was the Mandalorian of the prequels, right? It was a palate cleanser of what George did, and everyone did not care for. So then this felt more what we wanted.
And you watch it, and it's like, okay, that wasn't my favorite, but I see where they're going with it now. And we've got a lot of we've got a lot of different paths we could go down. And then, like I said, Rian Johnson, who's an amazing director, you're just like, what did we just do? Like,
he was trying to make a statement about things, and he was trying to subvert expectations, and he was
kill it if you have to. Sorry,
and then basically he just. It's like he didn't even know Star Wars. He just kind of did whatever he wanted. And
I feel like there were times though in that movie where it's like he may not have actually ever seen a Star Wars film, but he saw the Star Wars documentary, like the what's it called? It's the real big long one that came with like every box that you buy, but it goes in depth into making of all the films. Because like the bombers, again, that slow bomber crawl that made absolutely no sense why these ships were going as slow as they were, makes sense if you go back and look at the fact that Lucas basically copied frame by frame dogfights and old dogfight films for A New Hope. And so I'm like, okay, maybe you're trying to like sort of in some weird way pay homage to that, but it doesn't work. Like, these things are crawling. Every other vehicle in Star Wars moves at such a tight clip. You TIE bombers, everything. To have these like other ships that, okay, I get it, they're big. No, it didn't. You know what? We're going down a way.
We're already way into the weeds.
I can't.
The next thing
we've still got DC and Marvel to talk about tonight. So like that's gonna be its own rabbit hole. We could, yeah.
Do we want to just smash cut into the next segment, or do we want to take a break? Or
no, it's just, I mean, unless anybody needs to take a break, I just say let's roll.
No, I'm fine.
I wore a diaper tonight, so I can just go.
Sweet. So yeah, basically, let's just take a look at what's coming out for the rest of the year, and then kind of going.
Did you find a better list, Pete, or is this still the?
No, it's still the list. There are really just a couple of date changes to it. I went back and I checked some stuff, and so we're gonna see it as we go. Which ones changed? You'll know which ones they are.
There's so much shit on the list that I don't care about.
Yeah,
like there's 50% of that list I just don't care.
Exactly. Well, the first thing on this list was, when they originally had Dune set to come out yesterday, and they obviously bumped that to the 22nd. Dune, we talked about it a little bit on the show. I am super looking forward to this.
Looking forward to it.
They just released, like, I don't know why they did another trailer for it, but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah,
I just want to watch it more.
I think Dune you can get away with doing extra trailers for, because at this point the people that want to watch it are the people that know the story.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to give anything away, and they're not going to change the story of Dune, right? Like, it's too,
no.
It's like if you made a movie about the Bible, you just don't change the stories, right? They're the stories that are there. And so,
Could you imagine that pitch meeting? So check it out. Roll with me on this. What if Jesus doesn't die? Let's have him go, and Jesus turns into like a vigilante, and he goes and kills the Romans, and we kind of rewrite a little history here. Like you
I'd watch that movie.
That would be dope, dude. Quick, Tarantino handles the Bible. That'd be the shit.
But yeah, it's so like Dune. You could put out a trailer. You can put out as many trailers as you want, because people that want to see it are still going to go watch it, no matter how much of it you give away, because they already know what's going to happen. It's not like Spider-Man, where they're trying to give away as little as possible.
Yeah.
So.
And I was
yeah.
Oh, no, yeah. So that was another trailer that played before the movie I saw tonight, and I'll just say this, like, I'll be honest. So I am a diehard Marvel Studios fan, and if anyone is on my Facebook, you'll see that. So apparently the director had said something about Marvel films, and I was like, okay, first of all,
Yeah.
I saw that you did Blade Runner, whatever, gorgeous film. For me, a bit over long, and I don't know if you're really all
that shit was like an hour too long. Anyway,
so it was like so this doesn't make me like, you're not all that, dude. Like STFU basically. So that said, it soured my opinion of the Dune film. But then after seeing the trailer tonight, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put that aside. Like, this looks fucking amazing. So there's no way I'm not going to the theater to see that film. It's gonna be
when I finally saw the trailer on the big screen, and you get the worm, and he comes up and he's sitting there, and just like that, the way they did it, I went, oh, this is gonna be.
The worm looked great and all. The scope of everything, though. It's the scope of everything, all of the shots, and you're just like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Looks genuinely like scary. Like I'm just calling him Drax, you know, like Bautista, like he's like the bad guy, whatever, and like, and then everything, even like I'm gonna call him Aquaman.
Jason Momoa.
He's funny. He's like, you look like you gained some weight. Really?
Well, it's interesting because he brings a fun little bit of. It looks like he's bringing a little bit of humor to that character, and the character Duncan has some humor in the books, but when you go back in the Dino De Laurentiis one, that was played by Patrick Stewart,
right?
Who does a phenomenal job, but is not quite known for his comedic chops outside of being high with Ian McKellen. So it didn't quite work that same way with some what you were expecting. This movie, I'm just like, and I hope I'm not disappointed, because I try so hard to go into all of these films with no expectations whatsoever. But the trailer for this has me hyped.
Yeah. The risk for this movie is just that it could potentially be a little slow if it's not done right? Because it's so much stuff to put into a film. Like it either has to be 2.5 to 3 hours long to fit everything in, or they have to cut stuff out that's going to piss people off, or it's going to be a slow movie. Like there's a risk.
I'm hoping for a slow movie. I just don't want something that makes no sense, and I also don't want them to go and Dark Tower that shit, because like
I don't think that I would think I would say that about the Dark Tower, which, speaking of, they're going to do an audio play of the Dark Tower.
Oh, sweet.
So I don't know what that's going to be like, but that's coming out. But
see, Dark Tower is another one that's perfect, that should be, needs like the HBO series treatment, or a Netflix series.
It needs to be animated.
I can
animated would be good too.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that,
especially because one of the main characters is a kid that has to stay a kid through. Even if you did a book a season, you're talking 7 seasons, and this kid needs to be 13 the whole time. You can't, you're not going to pull that off if you do,
unless you can find the most generic fucking looking kid of all time, where like that every year you can find this kid, like this kid. But no, I agree. I think animated would probably go really strong. And some of the animated shows have been great recently.
I think that
Invincible was fucking
love that show.
So good.
It'll be my favorite this year, actually. Like
I was shocked at how much I liked it. Everyone was really pushing it, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh man, so good.
Well cast too.
Yeah.
There's very few times on this show that I have suggested something that I'm like, no, you need to watch this. You will not regret it. This isn't just me saying it's something I like that you guys aren't gonna like. Like, it is so good. It's like Red Oaks.
Yeah,
like I said it, and I remember Opie and Kevin, even a little bit, and Alex, they were kind of like, you watch some like 4-year-old series, and I'm like, yes, you don't understand how good
it's really good. I think I watched it because you said
you did. That's what you said on the show,
and it was good, and I don't regret it, and I tell people on the regular to watch it. My sister's on the East Coast now, and she's like, I got to take my daughter to tennis lessons. I was like, oh, well, you best be watching Red Oaks, right? God. Because you're apparently living this shit. So
it's so good. If you've never watched Red Oaks, Andrew,
I texted it to myself. So
yeah, it's
quite
on
fun.
Amazon Prime.
It's only 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's such a
super
good
easy to
show.
digest. We mowed through it. I truly mean mowed through it in very little time.
awesome.
There's not a weak performance in any of the 3 seasons. You
guys are raving.
It really was. It was one of those like
fan.
random.
Very
finds.
disappointed with it that it ended, but
Yeah,
it ended well. So like,
I think
it had its run.
It had to be one of those things though, where I don't want to say it was ahead of its time, but where they bought it and they put it through and they just didn't push it enough. Because like it's easily, I'll say it, it's easily on par with the quality of Miss Maisel. And I absolutely love that show. And they hyped the shit out of that, and that show has done so well. It's easily as good as Miss Maisel was.
Yeah, but
Easily.
This wasn't an Amazon show. This was
like you said, YouTube Red.
And YouTube Red didn't know what they were doing. They were trying to sell something to people that they were giving away for free, and people saw, you want me to pay money for YouTube? Fuck you. And they just ignored it.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were trying to sell. You know, had they better defined it, but also people who use YouTube want to watch YouTube. They don't want to watch series television. So it was a failed venture to begin with. YouTube got back to its lane and is fine. But
God damn it,
some of the stuff they made was
compilations.
very good.
All I want out of YouTube are Graham Norton compilations, people getting hit in the nuts, and like old World Star videos. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, everyone has what
YouTube,
they want. I use it mostly for how-to videos.
Yeah.
For everything. Anyone says, how do you do this? I don't know, man. There's YouTube. It'll tell you.
Exactly.
Years ago, I put lowering springs on my Mustang because I was and I got all the instructions on YouTube.
I took
my car apart and put it back together.
I fixed my washing machine. I replaced the igniters on my gas oven. All shit that I would not have even thought to try until I watched the YouTube video and went, oh fuck, I could do that.
My daughter's got a convertible, so her back window regulator was toast, so it needed to be replaced. So I drove the car into the garage, lowered the top, lowered the screen on the movie theater, and was watching the how-to YouTube video as it was like a drive-in movie, like sitting in the car doing the work at the same time. Nice. Huge screen. YouTube's amazing. We are really far afield. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I was going to say before we get started on the list, Andrew did watch Venom.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get a Venom review, because I had always said I'd take one for the team and watch that in the theater for us, because we were not giant fans.
Oh, so you paid someone to do it for you. I hope he paid you well.
Well, no, I just went because I'm a bit of a completist, if you will. So even if I'm not excited about something, I'll go see it. And you're right. It is definitely not essential at all. The first film was okay. The second film was okay. Like it was, there were some funny moments. But I was like, when the best part of the film is a tie-in to the MCU, like that tells you everything you need to know. Like I'm only excited because now you're finally getting with the big boys. That's all there is to it. It's cool to see Woody Harrelson like ham it up and be a bad guy. I think the review basically is it's an all right movie. There's some funny moments. Woody Harrelson's cool, and you just finally get to see like the tie-in to the MCU via, multiverse shit. So that's basically it. I don't think you need to see this movie.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it when it comes out on like HBO.
I will definitely if it had been a dual release like some of these other movies, like if it
you watched it at home
on streaming service, I would have watched it at home for sure. I would have watched it last night.
Yes.
Yeah. If you just said it was fun, I'd have spent $5 on Tuesday and gone to see it, but I didn't even get that. So I was like,
okay, well, I feel like I'm being mean now. There was some funny.
You're saying it was funny, but like,
yeah,
I'm looking for. This was a dumb movie, but I had a good time.
But like, if you tell me that it's on par with the first one, then I'm just like, okay, I'll catch it when it comes out.
Correct.
The first one that just had so many holes in it. It was just or so many
I never
issues
even
made
saw
on
it.
holes. But
really?
they had like two great actors with a completely wooden romance. Like you had what's her name?
Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams.
Tom Hardy. Like I love her, and he's a great actor. And I mean, they had zero chemistry in the first one.
Yeah,
and that was like a driving force of the movie. So it was difficult,
Well, you never bought. That was the thing. You never bought that the two of them would actually be together. Forget just like on-screen chemistry. The characters themselves and the way they set it up. You were like, this chick is never gonna stay with this dude.
Yeah,
like ever. I don't care what kind of weird, like, I like to fix the strays and the broken guys, daddy issues she has. There's no way she would be with him.
Yeah.
I thought for a second to watch this movie, and then you mentioned Michelle Williams, and now I am totally out. She is someone for me that I never got, and I don't understand the hype and why people love her. She does not ring true for me.
I get that. That's the way I've been about Chloe Sevigny. Like every she's like the darling of indie films, and I'm like, okay, other than kids,
Yeah, right. There's people like that sometimes, and
like the 2 minutes she's on screen in American Psycho. Otherwise, I'm just telling, all right.
I feel that way about Ben Affleck.
Whatever.
See, everyone's got their person, and for me, Michelle Williams is one of those. Sadly, honestly, I have one that's really, my wife gives me all kinds of shit. I can't stand Meryl Streep. Can't stand her.
Really?
You're a broken dude, man. You're a broken dude.
There's something about her that absolutely rubs me the wrong way.
I mean,
and I don't know why.
And like, not even that. Like,
and I can totally understand why people love her. She is amazing. I can't watch her movies.
Is it because she's a talented and strong woman? Maybe you need to see a therapist, David.
Maybe that's exactly what it is. I don't know. There are other talented and strong women that don't make me want to strangle them. But
even Julia? Like, really?
Oh, you couldn't pay me $1 million to watch that movie.
That movie is actually surprisingly very good.
Oh, I'm sure it's amazing. You still could not pay me $1 million to watch that movie.
It's her and Stanley Tucci playing off each other.
Don't care.
So good.
I don't care.
All right. Are we done with the Venom review?
Yes,
pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So then after Dune, the closest thing coming out is The Last Duel, which, Kevin, you said you had heard of. I had never even heard of this.
I think we talked about it for a minute. It's a kind of medieval times kind of.
Yes, seen the trailer for
it. It's Kylo
Matt
Ren,
Damon and Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
And
and like, it just doesn't look that great to me anyways. And then Ben
I
Affleck
remember
showed up,
seeing
and I
the
was
trailer
like,
for that and being confused.
Yeah, like I'm not quite sure what's going on at all. Like it looked like, oh, it's the trailer for the Green Knight. No, it's not. What?
Oh, let's be honest,
it's like the not artistic Green Knight.
It
Green
is
Knight's
one
still so good. Oh, so good.
It's one that, like you said, you'll probably see it. It is one that, like, watching the trailer, I'll probably wind up watching it when it comes out on TV.
There you go.
Or when I can stream it. I don't think it's something that I'm even want to pay $5 for.
My wife and daughter are in rehearsal every single night, so I have ample free time.
Oh.
So going to the movies is not hard for me.
Wait, before we continue with our list, we were texting with you the other night, and did you like see An Evening with Danny Glover or something?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. So Danny Glover came to speak at the Bankhead, which is the local theater here in the
Shut
city.
up, in Livermore. No shit.
Yeah, he was
Seems like a place that he must have been lost.
So
yeah, I was like,
so
like he went to Sauced and walked outside, and they were like, "Hey, you want to come talk for a couple hours in this theater because it's right here?"
We knew that this was happening, so we'd gotten like emails and stuff, and looked at it, and we were like, "Oh, okay, I mean, that'd be kind of cool," but didn't follow up on it. And then my wife at work, and someone was like, "Hey, would you like comp tickets?" And we were like, "We have nothing going on tonight, so let's go spend our time listening to Danny Glover speak." So we're like, "Cool, dude. So let's go see it." And so we go, and it was a speaker series. I guess someone who was big at Lawrence Livermore Lab passed away and left some sort of endowment for a speaker series, some sort of nonprofit charity organization. So anyways, every year they bring someone in, and this year it was Danny Glover, and it was not a fun experience.
Really?
Poor Danny Glover is not very sharp anymore.
He's too old for this shit.
Yes.
Well,
most definitely. Yeah, they hype it up beforehand. You had to be vaccinated to get in, and you had to wear a mask the whole time. So they were being extra special cautious because everyone in there, other than us, like the median age was like 85. So it was a very older crowd.
The only thing any of those people recognized him from was the color purple.
Oh my
probably. Well, Lethal Weapon was in the 80s.
Yeah.
People were watching Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah.
That was 40 years ago now, so fuck.
Yeah. So they would have been 40. We watch movies. So
dude, you saying Danny Glover is slipping just makes me think. Have you ever seen there was a little mini documentary called The Captains with Shatner, where he interviewed all the captains. And
hilarious.
the dude from Deep Space Nine is off his fucking nut, dude. That guy is he's insane. Like he just sits at a piano and he's just like, "It's all jazz, baby. It's all jazz." And you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
That's what I'm saying. It was so
and high. He was high and trolling. I think
he was.
It was
high
so hilarious to watch. Like I went into it going, okay, William Shatner's going to interview all the captains. This is already going to be unintentional comedy to start with, and then Captain Sisko comes on, and it's like, what?
He's not a captain, dude. He runs a fucking hotel in space. He's a goddamn concierge.
We're going back to Danny Glover. I'm taking this conversation back. So they bring him out. They hype it up real big. They bring him out, and then they ask him a question, and you realize a couple of things. A, he can't hear them at all.
Oh no.
B, the sound quality is god awful. His mic is clearly not positioned well. He's not picking up well. And so they're trying to like raise the gain to produce more volume. And it's just starting to blow out the speakers. You can hear it just on the edge of about to like feedback, like where it starts to warble a little bit, but it hasn't quite gotten to the scream. So that's the whole night. And basically every time they asked him a question, he would try to start to answer it and then would kind of ramble on the stories of his childhood and his parents. Everything kept rolling into that direction, and so ultimately we ended up hearing the same story about 5 or 6 times over, because he truly is not really there anymore. And we were shocked that they had not vetted his cognitive capabilities before bringing him up on stage, because the moderators looked uncomfortable. Like the whole board of this charity organization was there, and they were all like squirming in their. I mean, it didn't go over well.
He's a very interesting choice for a guest for like a random theater in a small town in Northern California to pull to talk about like his film career.
It sounds like they got the right guy for the area, because like, if
honestly,
I think
the audience still loved it because it was like old grandpa ramblings, and he was dropping names and dates that they connected with because he's 75 years old, right? And he lives in San Francisco and has lived in the same neighborhood since he was 11 years old.
That's right.
And he's still in the same neighborhood. And he was a big activist when he was a kid, when it mattered, right? And then he's maintained his activism all throughout his career. And so I think it was mostly they wanted to know and they wanted to hear him speak on the activism side. That's where all of the questions were oriented. But ultimately, they always just kind of veered back to stories about his parents and his grandparents, and you know, they definitely had relevance the first time, but the fifth time, not so much. When it gets to the point in the story where you can start repeating back what he's going to say next, you know that you've heard it a few too many times. It was a very uncomfortable experience. One we will definitely remember, which, you know, if it had been very normal, it might have been something we forgot. But we're not going to forget this one. It was very interesting. It was supposed to be an hour, and I think it ended up running like an hour and a half. We were just like, when is this going to end? But no one wears a watch anymore, and you can't hardly pull out your phone in a dark theater full of people because that's real obvious. So we were just like, I have no idea what time it is. We're stuck here forever. Like, time has stopped.
But see, that would have been me pulling out my phone, because I would have been like, this is the modern equivalent of like making coffee at the end of the evening. It's like, here's your signal that we're gonna wrap things up. After you hit an hour 10, I'm there on my phone going, what? And they can just see that light, and people should have been like, oh, so people are taking their phones out. Maybe we should try and
we need to fix
this guy up now.
Oh, but it was part of the worst part was that he just couldn't hear them. And I don't know if that was because the earbuds he was supposed to be getting monitor back to himself wasn't coming through, or if he just like is deaf. It was very unclear, but it was very clear he could not hear them, like, at all. It was again a very uncomfortable evening. And then we came home and decided to watch Jumanji, the second Jumanji film, because he's in the film
and he's hilarious in that shit.
Okay, so oh my god, is that movie so much funnier after having watched Danny Glover live? Because the entire time Kevin Hart is playing like the doddering old man who's like talking slow and rambling on things, and they keep getting killed because, you know, he's the zoologist who isn't answering the questions fast enough. That's fucking Danny Glover, like actually Danny Glover. So it's extra special funny when you go back and watch it. And Danny Glover's actually in the film for maybe 4 minutes.
Yeah.
He's almost not in the film at all. Yeah. But it feels like he is, because Kevin Hart is doing him for a good chunk of the film.
Well, that's it. So Kevin, that character is literally called the Old Black Man that Kevin Hart does. He's been doing it for 20 years, almost, since the beginning of this thing.
Yeah.
And it is, though, you hit it dead on. The Old Black Man is Danny Glover. Like, it was not hard to cross it over. Because
it is 100%. I saw him last night with my own two eyes sitting 20 feet in front of me. That's who he was. Like, it was 100% him.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So that was really funny to us. We were just like, holy shit, he's nailing it.
So totally random, but I know that we were trying to like stay on the whole.
Nah, we always say we're trying to stay on track. This show could have been called Derailed. Like
I just wanted to throw out there though that I remember hearing about The Last Duel, and I remember the reason why I actually kind of cared was because it was Ridley Scott, and I know that.
I do like Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
You know, but I do think he can be hit and miss, right? Because like Prometheus was not for me what I was expecting from an alien film, right? So that's why Ridley Scott isn't necessarily a slam dunk, but it is a Ridley Scott film. But it's only 67% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. So anyway, just want to throw it out there as like I just want to get it out there, and maybe it'll like stay relevant to.
So I liked Prometheus as soon as I stopped wanting it to be an alien movie.
Okay.
As soon as I tried to take it as its own separate thing and realized that I had another 2 hours to go, then I started to enjoy it. It was a decent
sci-fi film, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're looking for it to be an alien movie and to be any sort of pacing like that, or anything other than the minor, really tenuous connection that it gives you between this stuff, it's not like
but I think
at all what you want.
I was expecting, like, I think, like, for me, what I was expecting something a little bit more expansive. Like, I want, like, when I was seeing the trailers, I was like, okay, this is gonna be some straight up like God creation. Like, we're gonna find out the origins of humans, and like they dance around it. And I know there's like literature on the internet about who the engineers are and what they do, but I wanted more of that. But I felt like it's just like they go there, a bunch of people do really dumb things. What's his name? Idris hits on, the blonde chick, and then the blonde chick gets hit running straight in line instead of zigzagging when the ship falls on her. Like, I don't know. I just felt like, and then someone's performed surgery on herself. I don't know. I wanted more.
I know exactly what you mean about that movie. I felt like every person in that movie like tripped over their dick the whole time. If everyone was their own worst enemy.
Yes.
In that movie, like if they had all just like stopped for about 2 seconds and thought about what they were going to do before they did it, it's a completely different movie.
I refer to that as a Michael Bay film. Like, even
I can see that.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I heard the other day that Michael Bay coined a phrase for his film, and I think it's great and would like to use it from here on out. Bayhem. And I think that it is an apt description of Prometheus, right? It is total bayhem, right? Like, everything that can go wrong does go wrong. That's the movie.
Yeah.
And those movies get exhausting.
Mm-hmm. But that's exactly to that point, though. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong because someone didn't take like 2 seconds to stop. And it's the same thing in every Michael Bay movie. Like all the Transformers movies, like the Transformers movies, you watch them and you go back and you watch it and you're like, why did you do that? Oh no, you screwed that up.
Yeah.
Bye, Sam. Like it was like if you had stopped for 2 seconds and done just the opposite.
Well, my favorite is in Armageddon. They stop to refuel at a space station. They do a thing that they have done 1,000,000 times, but this time, when it's the most important, it goes catastrophically wrong and blows up the whole space station. Not only did it go like bad, but it went all the bad that it could possibly go.
What's his bucket? Black astronomer.
Neil
deGrasse Tyson. He had a podcast. I don't know if he still does it, but he has a podcast where every now and then what he would do is like every like 15 episodes, he would just debunk stuff from movies that happen. He does a whole episode on Armageddon.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he talks about the fact that if you actually just look at the time frame that this movie's supposed to occupy and the speed at which certain things are supposed to happen, that asteroid would have hit the Earth before the humans even got to the space station.
Wow.
Like the Earth would have been completely destroyed. Like the time of it, it's the biggest plot hole of it all. Like we don't, even going with like, oh, it's futuristic technology. We don't have enough technology to get to that asteroid to be able to break it up the way they did it in the movie in enough time in the first place.
I got a degree in physics. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. You don't watch Armageddon because it's fucking realistic.
No,
like
true. It's got that.
And as soon as it puts Michael Bay's name in front of it, take fucking science just out of it.
Oh yeah.
Like
Michael Bay has whatever Michael Bay wants.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't just show up with like a fucking M80 and be like, "This is gonna work," and then it just fucking worked. Like, no.
They train drillers and send them into space. This is the plot of the film, Pete.
Yeah.
Like, you're not looking for, and one of those is Steve Buscemi. And if you just look at Steve Buscemi and don't disqualify him immediately, there is something wrong with you.
Steve Buscemi was a volunteer firefighter. I buy him. Don't put dumbass Ben Affleck on a fucking anything.
Well, don't put Ben Affleck in the movie at all.
Stupid twat.
I don't know. I thought his whole thing with the little animal crackers with Liv Tyler.
Of course he did. Shut up.
Of course, Stop. And then he makes love to her daddy's song.
Yeah,
that felt dirty.
That's like the creepiest fucking thing.
I was always like,
he's like, if you're gonna bang my daughter, at least use the song that I wrote. I want it to be as uncomfortable for everyone as it would be for me.
I've never even thought about that.
Neither have I.
No,
that is like something I should have realized years ago.
I'm gonna watch the movie again just for that, just to experience it.
As much as
I actually enjoy the movie, I can watch that movie many times because it's fucking stupid. Like you just go in and you're like, this is fun. This is fun.
Yes.
This is fine.
It's like watching Independence Day. It's a dumb movie.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Go, whatever. Like, I'm gonna have fun. Will Smith's gonna punch an alien
in the face and knock it out.
And a dog's gonna avoid
explosion in the
fireball. And it's gonna be this great, terrible green screen shot. It's gonna be fun. I mean,
a computer virus, like from an app.
I watched
using Windows 95
about 2 weeks ago with Soph. It was just randomly. I was like, "Oh, sweet, Independence Day! You've never seen this." So we watched it. And the two of us spent the entire time just picking apart the ridiculous plot holes in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I still enjoyed the shit out of it. But
did she enjoy it?
Yeah. In as much as we laughed about it the whole time.
Yeah, see, I think that would be the same thing. I don't think my daughter could honestly enjoy the film. I think she'd be like, this movie's garbage. Why are you
exactly. Well, not the way we would have enjoyed it when it first came out because of the spectacle of the White House blowing up and like everything they did special effects wise. It was really cool and kind of revolutionary. But the just plot holes. Oh my God. Just why does first off the thing's nowhere near Area 51, one of those spaceships, and how does it move over there so fast? And
man, don't. This is not the time for covering all the plot.
Okay, and it's so hard for me because I am of all of us on the show who have ever been on the show, I like more crap than any of you that like I enjoy that are just like crap movies. But that is one that Opie is actually slightly starting to like bend me to as time goes by, where I used to like, I would watch that and I would enjoy it. And even watching it with Soph this time, we're picking it apart and laughing, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, God damn, that really does bother me actually.
It's always been a shit movie. I've always hated the film, but if it's on, I just watch it and go, okay, here's another cool part in this dumbass movie.
Like, I don't give a shit. Even they even try to play it off. We're about to give you a crash course in avionics. Yeah. No, drunken Randy Quaid as the crop duster on his single engine prop was not about to be able to fly.
So ridiculous. His performance is so over the top and ridiculous the whole film.
For no reason. For no reason. There's no that character actually could have been a little more grounded and it actually would have played better.
Yeah.
He's just so out there. But to be the guy who was like captured by aliens, he didn't then take it far enough. Like it was over the top, but he didn't take it over the top enough for what he was trying to do with it. Like if he was going to be that guy, he didn't even lean into being that guy hard enough. Like he should have been just completely fucking out there, but he wasn't. He was just a drunk dude.
Yeah,
whose kids are like
who is loud in it.
I would like to point out though that we have a list of movies and we've talked about one.
Oh yeah.
Two. We have talked about The Last Duel. That is the second one on the list.
That is true. That is actually how we got here.
And then spun
All right.
So The Last Duel and
I think we're going to speed through some of these here. So let's look. Okay, so Halloween Kills. Anybody going to see that? Anybody care?
No, like I said pre-game, I know it's supposed to be the second film in a new trilogy of the Halloween films. The first one apparently was fairly well received by fans, and they're looking forward to this one. It's not for me. I've never connected to the Halloween films.
No, couldn't care. I'm sad that I actually missed Candyman while it was in the theaters.
Oh, Candyman was so good.
I wanted to see that in the theaters. I'm actually sad that I didn't get to. This, no desire whatsoever.
No,
none.
Snake Eyes, no.
No, well, that was already
Snake Eyes already came out.
Yeah, that's why I said this list is.
I think Addams Family 2 came out this weekend.
Yes, I'm actually. I'm going to see that tomorrow night. Stella really, really wants to see that, so I am going to throw her a bone.
I have no desire to see any of those movies.
No. I remember I saw the first one, and we talked about it on the movie. It's going to be like me trying to shade my phone for an hour and a half while she laughs at a movie. Cool, because it's just not for me. It's made for little kids. They tried. The first one tried to put enough like adult humor in it or stuff for the parents.
They tried to Shrek it.
And it just wasn't there. Like it's just not that enjoyable. So, there's supposed to be some Elvis biopic coming out.
Wait, did you
just skip the Eternals?
Oh, yeah.
So the Eternals, man.
I think we've all talked about. We'll all see the Eternals. That's gonna be really anything. I mean, I'm pretty excited for it at this point.
For our guests. I'm really excited for this.
Yes.
Andrew doesn't even get to say his own stuff, but I'm fairly sure everyone here is going to see the Eternals. So
yeah. I'm excited for that one. I think it's so different than everything that's been in the MCU so far, and it's coming at the right time. Like it's coming off of Shang-Chi, which you know, on the one hand was a very prototypical superhero film, but it was well done. Like it was a good movie. It was fun. I liked it a lot. The Eternals is something different, and I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, Shang-Chi definitely made me want to see the Eternals more, but I'm not quite excited still. I'm going to see it, and
I think the last trailer for the Eternals got me excited.
Yeah.
Like I was curious, and there was no doubt I was going to see it, but the last trailer really got me.
Going to be plenty of Marvel humor. Honestly, I'm willing to pay $18 just to see fucking Diesel ass Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah,
like
it's Kumail honestly that I want to
screen. See. Like,
and if you're spending $18, Jesus, man.
No, because I'll go. I like the IMAX. For the bigger Marvel movies, I'll go and see it in the IMAX.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't do the 3D. The key to IMAX, at least for me, the key to IMAX is I sit all the way up in the back.
Exactly.
I don't. If you sit where you would for a traditional movie, where you kind of want that middle about halfway through down, it's you might as well be sitting in the first 3 rows looking straight up like this. If you sit in the back and you take it in, it's almost like getting to watch something. It's like getting to watch Lawrence of Arabia in the original 70 millimeter. Like it's got that like kind of scope to it, but you have to back yourself up from it, because otherwise anywhere else in the theater you sit and you're just like
I'll keep it really quick. So I saw Infinity War in IMAX, and I was all the way in the back, and I was just like, I'm telling you guys, and I saw a movie like 5 times, and I'm not one of those people who like goes back to the theater every single time, but that movie I was like, holy shit, the battle on Titan, like what the mind blown. So I literally like IMAX, I reserve IMAX for like spectacles. And like I remember seeing The Dark Knight Rises in IMAX too, same thing, all the way in the back. But just wanted to echo that. But Infinity War in IMAX that first time was like literally, I think, one of my favorite moments in a movie theater ever in my life. Okay, done. Had to rant.
For me, the screen is fine, and I love the size, and it's amazing. The sound is absolutely trash.
Oh, at the one here in Dublin at the Regal Cinema IMAX.
Every IMAX I've ever been to, I've tried others to others like in the South where like their theaters like are so way cooler than ours.
New York.
So way cooler. They sound like trash. In LA, like where this shit happens.
So I actually saw an IMAX film in Philadelphia at the Franklin Institute I'm 44, so this would have been 30 years ago. I would have been like 11 or 12. It was when IMAX that was first coming out. It was one of the first IMAX theaters in the world that was there, and it was like you went to the Franklin Institute Museum and you watched all this stuff, and then you'd buy like the extra ticket to go see the IMAX, and it was just this whole thing about space and the shuttle and spacewalks. It was about a half an hour long. I was hooked. And when they, and they talk about how like afterwards, like this will eventually become, a thing for movies, man, when you see something like that and it's like floor to ceiling space and the shuttle's open,
you're
like
saying that like we all
excited.
haven't seen that. I seen that.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, I went to the museums in elementary school and shit and watched the IMAX stuff. For the longest time, all you could do was watch IMAX movies about how the polar bears were dying and shit.
Yep. Yeah, I grew up in Washington. We had Mount St. Helens, man. I think I saw that fucking Mount St. Helens movie like 7 times.
So I mean, it's great. Look, it's got its things. For me, for movies, like audio is a big thing that I am a huge fan of. And so if it's not good, it drives me nuts. And for me, I have never found it. I think the space in the IMAX is just not conducive to good sound for a film. So that's just a personal opinion.
I can see that. I think part of the problem is it's not. What is it? The RDX theaters, like there's another screen at Regal in Dublin that's like it is the special sound design screen. It is a larger format.
Have you seen that screen? Like what it actually looks like? My mom and daughter went and saw a movie there, and so they were sending me a video from inside the theater. That is nuts. Holy crap, where'd I go? It disappeared on my screen. It's essentially, if you think about it, you sit there and the screen is, let's say you're sitting in the front row. The screen is about 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a huge gap, and then there are screens on the sides. So you're like looking into a box. So there are 3 screens. It is weird. Like my mom, like they saw it and they were like, I don't understand why this movie, they saw Black Widow in that theater. And they enjoyed the film and they liked it. And they said most of the time it was just on that center screen. But then when it got to certain scenes, it would pop up on all 3 screens, and it was trying to be more immersive. Okay, yeah. It's weird.
I do know what you're talking about now, because somebody else described that to me almost the same way you did. They said those side screens are almost like that weird like Samsung TV where it would display the ambient light out of the back of the TV that was like supposed to somehow match what was going on the screen, and you're like, this is just a hokey gimmick that makes absolutely no sense and brings nothing to anything. It's like the screen is there and that's supposed to be cool, but the only reason to go for it is the sound in the movie theater, because it is so crystal clear. It's so balanced and beautiful that anywhere you sit in the theater is perfect.
So my mom invited me to go back because she wanted to show it to me, and they were showing Aquaman, and so we were going to go and watch Aquaman.
That's a horrible decision.
Y'all know I love that movie, so I was excited.
Wait, what?
You know, right?
I have expressed this multiple times. That movie is so funny. If you just watch it for what it is, a campy cheese fest, that movie is nothing but laughs.
I'm sorry. I can't get over the fact that they spent like 80% of the FX budget on the fucking hair. Underwater.
Who cares about the hair? The hair has no relevance. You have to watch for the good stuff.
The movie has no relevance.
Every time Jason Momoa comes on the screen, they start at his crotch and they do a slow pan up his chest. If he has his shirt on, he's taking it off at this point. They get to his head. They pause long enough for him to shake his hair out. And then something blows up or something happens. Every time, it's so funny. And every scene in the entire film, when it slows down and starts to get dramatic, every single one ends in an explosion. So anytime it starts to get like touchy-feely, you're like, okay, where's it going to blow up at? I forget. Where's it going to blow up? and then it blows up, and then it's super fun. Like the movie's terrible. It's not a good movie, but if you watch it for what it is, it's so much fun.
And we talked about it on the show ad nauseum, because I was even before we went and saw it, I actually went into that movie with very, very high expectations and thought it was going to be good, because the trailer, when they showed the scene when they were like running through Morocco, I was like, oh, this looks like it's going to be at least a good action.
Kind of looked a little Bondy at that point, right?
Yeah, I was like, okay, this might, at first I wasn't sold on the whole Jason Momoa's Aquaman, like the whole idea. And
I don't have a problem with that, but I have always laughed that somehow a dude that lives, 20,000 leagues under the sea has a tan.
Yeah.
The sunlight doesn't get down there, man.
Well, no, but then we watched it, like you go in and that movie starts, and the horrible green screen CGI from
that's
the
why
jump
every scene in the trailer was not underwater. Like the underwater fucking
it's so bad.
Like
you just have to laugh at it. That's what's so much fun about it.
The trailer might as well have been Landman. Like he was never underwater in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like it's just fucking, it's horrible.
It's not a good movie, but it is a great movie to watch, especially if you've had a couple to drink and and it's late at night and your sense of humor is expanded. You are gonna love Aquaman.
Well put.
All right, let's move on.
The Eternals, yeah, we're all going to see that. We love that idea.
Untitled Elvis Biopic. I don't know any of it.
I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to find out.
Clifford, I may wind up watching that just because the kids seem slightly interested in it.
Don't say you're taking the kids. Just tell the truth.
No, I have. That is one I will honestly say no interest to see. I went and saw in the theater. I took the youngest kid who had no desire to see the Dora the Explorer live action film. And I took her to see that because I wanted to see it just for the sheer campiness of what I thought it was going to be. And yes, Opie, I'm going to talk about the fucking Dora film again. That movie was so much better than you thought it was going to be, because it's Dora the Explorer.
Well, it would have to be.
Because it knew what it was from the beginning, and it leaned into it the entire time.
Why are we talking? We're supposed to be talking about movies, not
Dora
the Explorer. We start talking about Clifford the Big Red Dog, and all of a sudden we're talking about
we don't even need to talk about that. That movie's going to suck.
We're moving past Clifford.
All right, Mission Impossible 7. I didn't even know this was coming out.
I
didn't either. We've already discussed that this list is not reliable. I can't imagine this movie's coming out in November, because I've never
heard of it by now.
There's no trailer.
Yeah, I feel like I would have seen a
buzz.
load of trailers for it.
This is bullshit.
I think I know why. I don't know if it's a Warner Brothers film, but I'm sure. I think all Tom Cruise stuff got pushed out. Like I think Top Gun got pushed.
Well, Top Gun got pushed out. No, it's all the Paramount stuff.
Paramount.
Anything on Paramount, because Paramount hasn't figured out what the fuck it wants to do with CBS and its whole streaming app.
In that case, I'm sorry, and Mission Impossible, I think it's Paramount too. I think Paramount and Tom Cruise have a relationship. But yeah, streaming makes sense. Either way, I'll just say that I actually am a fan of the MI films. I wasn't really watching them until I saw the trailer for I think 6. Yeah, I saw the trailer for 6. I'm like, this looks pretty good. And then I just went back and actually watched them, and I heard everyone says it actually gets better. So I skipped 1. I skipped 2 as well.
I skipped 1.
Yeah,
dude,
I mean, no, I
liked 1.
No, I've seen them, but rewatching because I remember them. So I finished 3 because I started 3. I just finished it. Then I saw 4. And I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Ghost Protocol. Saw 5, and 5 and 6 are connected. And I was like, this is actually getting good, So it's crazy to me how these franchises can actually sometimes get better as you go along. And I think this is one of them. That's why they're making 7 and 8. So anyway, that was my rant and saying a lot of people don't like Tom Cruise. I don't have a problem with him, actually. I think he's, whatever.
I enjoy his movies. I think he's a crazy person, but I enjoy his movies.
I feel the way Kevin does.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy his movies, and I whatever. I enjoy them. I like the Mission Impossible movies. The first one is a Brian De Palma film. It's good. It's honestly really fucking good. I love that movie. 2 was okay for me. That was the John Woo one.
Yes.
And then the third one was the J.J. Abrams one, which I would rather eat a shotgun shell than watch that film again. I hated that one.
Interesting.
Just detested it. I'm not a huge J.J. Abrams fan when he's a director, I've determined. I think he's a fantastic showrunner and a producer, and I like his stuff. I don't tend to care for his directing stuff.
Not a big fan of lens flare.
Prime example. I just thought the story was dumb. I mean, it's been so long since I've even seen it. And I've blocked so much of it out that I can't even, give a reliable discourse on why I hate it. I just, at this point, know that it's awful garbage that if I were to watch, I could rip it into pieces, but I'm not going to do that. But then 4 was really good. And then, like you said, it just kind of climbs from there. I had the same experience with the Fast and the Furious movies. They're totally ridiculous. But like it gets the point where at 5, like it just turned this corner and they're like, we're going to do a kind of a Bond ridiculousness and we're just going to like go for it. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, let's go for it. And they've been going for it. And the most recent one, it wasn't very good, but up till then, I thought they were just getting stronger along the way.
So just as a side question then, since we've just discussed the Mission Impossible movies, when Opie and Alex eventually come back, does that mean I can now skip that for my franchise?
I mean, no. I don't know when they come back. I think the franchises are just on hold for now. Sweet. Why? You don't like the Mission Impossible movies?
No, I do. I like the first 2.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to then keep watching them, but because we paused the franchises, I kind of put it on hold. But they are, like you said, with the Fast and the Furious movie, the first one was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's what it was. But like I enjoyed Tokyo Drift more than I enjoyed the other ones. Tokyo Drift as its standalone story was actually really good.
Drift. Yeah. My daughter really hates it.
I love
because
Lucas.
It doesn't have the cast.
Lucas Black or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It was yeah. Those movies though got more and more ridiculous as they went, and that's what I was kind of starting to see with the Mission Impossible ones. Was it was just like, okay,
I don't think so. I think they maintain a level of ridiculous.
They stay grounded. I think they're just better stories, honestly, and the action sequences are actually, I mean, they're not ridiculous. They're just like, holy shit, like they actually pull that off. Right?
I mean, he ups it every time he does one. He like whatever crazy stunt he did last time, he has to do it bigger and better now. I mean, he's like the modern Evel Knievel is fucking Tom Cruise.
Well, that's we're reminded every time one of those movies comes out, we're reminded that he does his own stunts.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hanging on an airplane.
I mean, that's good for him. Like the dude is in his 50s and he's doing his own stunts on the side of an airplane or the side of a building or with the top of Everest, who knows, wherever he is in space, probably. Like he's got enough money. It's super cool that he can do that. I'm going to go watch and support him if he's making an entertaining film, and they've been entertaining.
Yes.
The last one I saw, I only saw it once and I really should watch it again, was really good. I remember leaving the theater going, I'm glad I paid money to see that. So
Henry Cavill was a believable bad guy. He was like, holy shit,
Cavill.
Bugger, gotta kill him. Like he's gotta die. Like by the end of the film, like he's gotta die.
So I found a slightly better list here that I'll work from. That we'll go.
Okay, so good.
Next weekend we've got No Time to Die.
Okay, so I have to.
That's
watch
already out in the
because
UK because I've know.
It's getting a lot of good reviews.
Is it who directed it? Do you have that in front of you? Sam Mendes has been doing it for a little while, so I don't know if Sam's rounding this out, if this is like the end of Sam's story, or if someone else is picking it up.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
It doesn't say. I can look it up later and get back to you guys. I've seen this trailer 9,000 times. I feel like I've already seen this film.
Kari Joji Fukunaga.
Nope, that is not.
Oh, is it Cary Fukunaga?
Yeah.
It looks like a great movie. I'm excited to see it. I just recently watched all the Bond films. So that we could discuss it here. So I'm definitely going to see it, and I will probably see it on opening night. I'll just go by myself and watch this movie and have a great time. And so I'm also really excited to never see the fucking trailer ever, 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 ever again, because it is literally in front of every single film. And I go to the movies a lot. And so I see it every time I sit down. And, I'm like, okay, let me go see an animated film this time. There's yep, there he is, James Bond. Okay. You can't get away from him.
So then we talked about Eternals. Spencer on November 5th. This is the Kristen Stewart. This is the Kristen Stewart led Diana, Princess of Wales biopic.
Oh yeah,
I don't give a shit about
out
that.
on this.
It's people are saying that she's actually fucking really, really good in it.
She's really good in most things. She's a great actress, but I just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's not for me.
No.
That will bring us to David's background. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Ow! I am super stoked. I mean,
I am excited for this one.
Super stoked since I shook the director's hand and we talked about it. Like,
nice.
I'm super stoked.
Oh, yeah, Andrew, you don't know this. David is not only is he a member of the 501st, but he's also a super Ghostbusters fan, and they have Livermore Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we have our own Ghostbusters chapter.
Well, that's incredible. I walk around the firehouse.
It is.
So it's pretty cool. I have my own proton pack and suit and everything, PKE meter, all the fun stuff. We actually went to the symphony before the whole COVID thing when they did a Ghostbusters night, and they invited us in, and we got to like take pictures with everyone beforehand. It was super fun. So,
and shake the director's hand. That's amazing.
No, that was at a Ghostbusters huge convention down in LA. My friend Ernesto and I went, and we were in line for pictures, and it was supposed to be Ivan Reitman and Jason Reitman.
Right.
But Ivan Reitman got lost and just wasn't there. And so Jason started feeling bad. So he literally just walked out and started working the line and shook every person's hand, talked to them for 2 or 3 minutes, and then moved on. That's how late Ivan was. that he had time to just like work his way down the line and chat with people for quite a while. It's super nice. And then we got to watch all the panels of him talk and whatnot. So it's going to be a great movie. I am
I completely waited and had not watched a trailer for this movie yet.
I thought the first trailer was perfect. The first trailer showed so little; it just showed you enough to get excited. And I was happy with that trailer.
I didn't watch that trailer. More. I finally watched this recent trailer. I said, "Okay, we're getting close. Give me a little bit of what's it about." I'm kind of hyped for this movie now. Like it looks good. It very much looks like more than just the spiritual successor of. Like it's obvious, like the way it's tied in and everything else.
Have you gone back and rewatched the original trailer?
Yes,
because that original trailer is so good because it hints at everything. If you watch it, the second one tells you everything. The first one hints at it. That first one was so good. I've stopped watching the trailers. I don't want to see it. If it comes up on the screen when I'm at the theater, I'll watch it. Fine, whatever. But if the new trailer drops, I don't go watch it on YouTube or watch it on my phone, or if it's on Facebook, I scroll past it. I don't want to see it. I want to watch it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer for the first trailer, like you said, I went back and watched it. It's exactly what you said. It just hints at it. That trailer is probably one of the best trailers for making you want to see a movie without letting you know a fucking thing.
Oh man, with the sound too, like they kick the siren in at like the perfect time to like really get you. Oh, it is a well crafted trailer. It was really, really well done.
Yeah, like I was gonna go see it regardless, but I'm actually excited for it now. Like I really think it's gonna be good. I'm tough because I'm one of those ones that like even though it wasn't, like in the Ghostbusters universe, I loved the all-female Ghostbusters.
Whatever it is, I don't give a shit. It was fun. It was funny.
It was just a funny fucking movie.
Oh, okay. The end of the movie is terrible. The end of the movie is bad.
The fucking dance routine, I didn't need that.
Oh no, yeah. It just devolves into total garbage at the end of the film. And that's sad because it was really fun up to that point.
But for me, like Kate McKinnon, oh god,
yeah, Kate McKinnon was my favorite part of the movie. But I absolutely am someone who is all about the mythology, and I think so I'll probably make sense here. So what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek 2009 was a perfect example for me of how you can reboot something, but then honor what came before it. He actually pulled off the perfect balance. And I feel like the 2016 Ghostbusters, in a lot of ways, kind of, in my opinion, kind of crapped all over the original just to make this kind of funny, snarky reboot, And I feel like this film gives me Force Awakens vibes. Like the reveal of like opening the station wagon was like when they're running, Finn and Finn and Rey are running, and they actually see that junk heap, and they see the Millennium Falcon. You're like, oh my god! Like I held with that level of reverence, but then also it's like Ghostbusters in '84. To my 8-year-old eyes, was a special effects bonanza. So special effects is part of what makes Ghostbusters amazing. So to see it upgraded with this new technology, I just feel like this movie is like, I'm not knocking what, yes, I am actually knocking it, but like I am kind of knocking what the 2016 film, I am, but let's just.
It was its own thing though. Like it was, it was never trying to be part of Ghostbusters. It was trying to do it.
So then why would you call it Ghostbusters then? All I'm saying is
it's still Ghostbusters. It's just that, I mean, they reboot things all the time.
It's like the conversation we had about the Wonder Years last week. Like it's just like you could have.
No, but I mean, it was still Ghostbusters. It was still the same. They had the packs. They were fighting ghosts. They were doing it together. Like it's still at its core Ghostbusters, right? But it's not. It's not the original lore. This is a direct handing of the baton from one generation to the next.
Like Fred Savage is still involved with the new Wonder Years, and I think that's smart.
He's
like so that's smart to at least have some connective tissue. And it's like, look, we're just same time period, just a different side of America. So that to me, I get, but I still also get why people might be like weird about it, right? But I think with this film, all I'm saying is like, instead of spending energy crapping on the 2016 film, let's go ahead and literally pass baton. Like you said, it's the director's son, and it's like Grandpa Egon. Like it's just,
Grandpa Egon's the best part. That for me, like the tying in, we've only lost one of the actors in the Ghostbusters, and he was arguably one of the absolute very best. They're all great. Like you can't say one's better than the others. I love the Ghostbusters. But anyways, Egon's special. And to lose him is super sad. But the way they seem to tie it in and to basically kind of like really cement his legacy, I think is one of the things that I'm most excited about.
When it hits the end of that trailer and the phone rings and it's obviously Stan's with the red phone.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Like it had the potential to just be like, ugh. And it wasn't. Like it looks good because it looks like he's in like running some occult shop, just like he was in the second one. Like it's the same kind of thing carried on. Yeah. This did though make me go back and watch the movies that made us, the Ghostbusters episode of that, and I had no idea that what was the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters, was based on that original Ghostbusters thing from like the 60s that was around, that they were fighting for the name for. And if you remember that real Ghostbusters cartoon and then you see that live action thing, you're like, holy shit, like the cartoon just did this live action like perfectly. It just looks goofy. But yeah, I'm super excited for Ghostbusters. Cool. Completely excited. Then we come to around November 24th and we get the reboot of the Resident Evil series. It'll be Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Is that actually out this year?
It's supposedly. Yeah, this is what the list I'm looking at now is actually like very current.
I didn't think that one was out yet because I haven't seen a trailer for it.
Yeah, this was September 8th that this list was put out. Well, it could have been changed again since September 8th. Who knows?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was being made. And frankly, right now studios are like pushing dates around so much.
Oh yeah.
That shit that's like a week old. I don't know if any of this is actually current at that point.
Ghostbusters got pushed back a week. It was November. It was like November 12 or 13, and then it got pushed back to the 20th.
Yeah, I'm worried about this one since I don't remember seeing a trailer. Like I want them to do a good reboot that kind of ties into the games, because I only recently found the Resident Evil games.
Okay.
And the first couple are really good, like considering how old they are. I think I've played remasters for both, maybe even the first 3. But there's some really cool stuff in those stories, and the movies that were made with Mila Jovovich had nothing to do with the games.
Well, that's what I've been told, because I never played the games, is that if you're a fan of the games, be aware that the first movie does not necessarily tie directly in, but gives you some backstory and stuff about things that happened in the game that makes it like kind of fun fan servicey. But after that, it's like 4 films of cash grabby. Like that's all it is. It's like, oh, we've got this name, and it's like it has nothing to do with the actual Resident Evil series. It's just, hey, we've got this name. I thought they were
fine action horror films if you hadn't played the games, but having now played the games, it's just like the story is much more interesting than the movies kind of set up. So I have hopes that this one will be better, but looking at the cast, I don't know anybody in it. I don't know who the director is. So it'll be.
It's a good luck.
I mean,
good luck reboot.
You know what? It's got Hannah John Kamen. I like Robbie Amell, but he's not a great actor. He's fun. It has Donald Logue, who I like.
Donald Logue's hilarious in everything he does.
Yeah, but I don't know who's directing it.
I don't know. It was tough because I enjoyed is a loose term, the Resident Evil movies, because I had never played the game. So they were there. To me, it was like, Umbrella Corporation and just a zombie movie thing, and it was its whole separate thing. And so I enjoyed them to a degree. Like they were, if they were on TV, I'd be like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on here. But the whole weird DNA plotline thing that runs through it, and Alice, how she's like a clone of a clone of a clone or some shit like it still doesn't make sense to me, and there were way too many of them. So I hope if you're a fan of the Resident Evil games, this will be good for you.
Yeah, it's also got Tom Hopper and Neil McDonough. Like it's actually got a decent cast. So we'll see. I've never heard of the director. I don't know. Johannes Roberts. I don't know what he's done. Oh, but he wrote it too. So shit. That's terrifying.
Always dangerous. Those are always dangerous when you see.
He did the 47 Meters Down movies. He did nothing that makes me think this is going to be good. Fuck.
What's next on your list, Pete?
Yeah, let's go on.
So that's going to bring us to a little film that I did not even realize they were making. And I saw the poster for it, and I was physically repulsed by it. And my daughter and I were disgusted until we saw the trailer. And I actually want to see the West Side Story remake now.
No, I have no fucking desire. I hate
Hard
that
pass.
goddamn musical. I hate that show.
I love that musical, but I was very much like, why did we even bother doing this? There's no need to.
If you love the musical, this is going to be fantastic. It's going to be beautiful because it's Steven Spielberg.
No,
all that shit, but
I was very anti. I was super anti until I saw the trailer, and now I've looked at it and I'm like, okay, I'm actually intrigued to see this. This looks like it might be a cool
makes me want to punch myself in the face, but only because
I'm with
West
Kevin
Side
on this
Story.
one 100%. I can't stand.
But you don't like West Side
Romeo
though.
and Juliet. I
don't.
West Side Story. Like, there's this is another one. You can't pay me to see this one. It's a hard pass.
Yeah, and I like Spielberg. I know that it's going to be well made. Yeah, I know that it's going to be beautiful. Everything about it's going to be right for what it is. I will just fucking hate it. Like it's not for me. And it's
fair enough. Yeah, and it's not going to be for everybody. It's not gonna like I know they're gonna expect it to do like gangbusters money. I don't think it's gonna do that well at the box.
Oh, I think it's gonna do fine. I think it's gonna make a good amount of money.
It'll make its money back, but it's not gonna
break the box office. But it'll be what it'll be.
So that then brings us to the one I know we're all looking forward to do. That would be Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
No question.
I'm excited for it for its implications, but I don't know. I'm kind of tired of Spider-Man. I don't know.
I don't even know who you are.
Right?
Look, I'm gonna see it, and it's probably
nobody's tired of Spider-Man.
But I'm not super like everyone was like wetting themselves and like over when they were gonna drop the trailer for the new Spider-Man. And I just could not care less.
I don't need another trailer. I don't want any more details about it. I just want it to come out and see it.
Yeah.
Like because it's so crazy, because it's cracking open this whole shell of what's coming next. I don't want to know anymore.
That. I'm truly hoping it does that.
It does. I think it really sets up the entire next phase of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I don't want to know any more about it until I see it. Like I don't need another trailer.
Agreed.
But I'm excited for it. Like I think it's gonna be cool. I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's great. He's probably he's my favorite Spider-Man, I think so.
Easily. Super easily.
But I think Spider-Man for me works better in the big films where he's got a lot of other people to play off of. When all he has to play off of is his classmates, it's just not as much fun for me.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a fair criticism, actually. And I think, thankfully, I think this film will be his Civil War in that it's going to feel like an Avengers film, even though it's his film. So, I fully expect to see the other two guys. I don't care what anybody says. Like, they're going to show up, as in Andrew Garfield and the first one. I think they're going to show up. We've got Doctor Strange already in there. We got Wong. There's a multiverse. So.
Got what's his bucket back is Dr. Octopus.
Alfred Molina.
We've already seen
that. Exactly.
I don't know if they're gonna pull
the other two.
They've got Defoe's laugh in there. Like they haven't shown him.
Yeah.
But so like
I think we'll see a lot of them. I think they'll be there.
It's a multiverse.
But like on the other hand, like I hope that's not just like the whole trick of the movie, right? Like I know they're cracking open the multiverse, but that's what I'm worried about than just these guys showing up, right?
Yeah.
And I think it'll be there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that this story is based on from the comic books that would be really interesting. And there's rumors that it may fall into that. Is in the comic books, when this happens, it happens for a different reason, but he's trying to cut a deal and he actually has to give up MJ. Like she has to forget everything about him in the comic books. So that's like people were pissed when they did in the comics because I think when we were kids they did the Spider-Man wedding, right? That was in the comic books. The Spider-Man wedding was like a huge deal.
I remember that. Yep.
And that had just been like the lore of Spider-Man ever since. And then they fucking wiped out that whole history in one comic book, and people were not happy. So we'll see what they do with this one, but yeah.
Well, that will bring us then to late December. We've only got 2 movies left here. We've got Matrix Resurrections.
I am
so on the fence about this one.
For this.
Yeah. Like I don't want to be.
I feel the same way. I didn't want to be. I was super kind of like apathetic about it, and then I saw the trailer and they nailed that trailer, so I'm really hoping.
I get the sense that the film is almost going to retcon like 2 and 3. It's almost going to be a direct sequel to the first one. Like that's the vibe that I got. And what makes me nervous is that only one of the Wachowskis is involved. Like the other one was
that does. I'm not a fan.
I don't feel like going back, and I was just like, So I'm gonna see it on GP. Like there's no way I'm not gonna see it.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for it. I want it to win.
Me too.
I'm prepared for it to not win.
Yeah.
So I think that's
But like it's interesting because it's almost a reboot of the first film because it can be, right? Like if you know what happens at the end of the third film, and what it, the way that it can, it's all a cycle, then you can technically reboot the first film in your own way, and still roll with that. So I'm curious to see
which is basically
happens.
from what we see, but that could also be just the trick of the trailer, is making us feel like that's what they're doing, and then we're going to go in there and it's going to be completely different than the way it laid out. Because to me it looks like the plot line is going to be, it's after the third, everybody's back inserted into the Matrix. Neo kind of has some idea of what he can do. He knows who he is. There are some people who are awake and doing this whole thing inside the Matrix, outside the Matrix, and they're going to wake him up again. And we're going to try and free humanity again for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
that was always the big, for at least for me, I was definitely a fuck you, I'm taking whichever color pill it was, that I'm just staying in the Matrix. After looking at the
because
world
you think
that's
about it, like
outside,
civilization outside of the Matrix was a shit show, unless you went to that fucking major rave dance party in the second one. But like, it was kind of shitty outside of the Matrix, and like some of the stuff inside the Matrix shitty too. But like, I almost think like if you had the dude's control where he could have the girl in the red dress, right?
Merovingian.
Maybe you come out, program your shit, and then jump back in and just live that life.
Right.
Like, like why not?
Right.
Yeah, my buddy Rod was just reading so much into that trailer, and he constructed this story, and I was like, dude, stop. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you have written a movie that you are not gonna see.
Yeah.
You need to not do that, because then you'll be disappointed when you do see the movie. So I am super intrigued. I didn't think I would want to see this movie. I saw the trailer. I'm super excited to see the movie, more excited than a lot of these other films. And I think
it's HBO Max, right? It's going to be theater and
going to be on both.
Still don't give a shit. I'm going to the theater, man.
No, that's a spectacle movie. Yeah.
But see,
it's like Dune for me. I know it's going to be on HBO Max, but I'm going to go see that in the theater.
Yeah, my kids aren't interested, so I'm going to watch it at home. Like my kids are, haven't seen the Matrix movies, and maybe I'll get them to before it comes out. But if I don't and they're not interested, I'll just watch it at home. I don't have a problem with that. I have a nice.
You know
TV.
what?
I think my daughter's seen the first one, so I think that's really all that matters.
Yeah. Yes. We haven't. Soph and I have watched the first one. She's seen the trailer now for this, and wants to go back now and watch the 2 and 3, just so she knows what's going on. Because that was kind of my litmus test when we started. Like, okay, well, let's watch The Matrix. You've never seen this, and so we watched The Matrix, and she's like, "That movie was cool."
Nice.
And I was like, okay,
at least
it does still kind of hold up.
Waiting this long too, you can set expectations for 2.
Yeah.
You can say these movies aren't as good as the first one.
Yeah.
There's some weird shit, and just take it for what it is, and at least follow the story, and don't get wrapped up in necessarily everything that's happening on screen. But also Monica Bellucci, okay? Monica Bellucci, most beautiful human beings ever created.
I know there's some weird like dreadlocked albino guys jumping around from truck to truck shooting each other. It doesn't make any sense at all, but just roll with it. Because by the time we get to the end of the third, you're going to be so fucking confused about what's actually going on that none of it's going to matter.
You can watch the Animatrix, you can play the video game, you're still going to be confused.
Yeah, I did laugh though, and it's never struck me. I just saw a meme the other day about how it's very interesting how before the Oracle will help Neo, he's got to accept a cookie. And if that's not the perfect take on going to the internet today, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And that shit was funny. And then, rounding us out is The King's Man.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Oh, so the first Kingsman movie, I think, is truly fantastic.
It was the shit.
Yeah. It's good stuff. The second one
was a cash grab.
It's not good. They accentuated the bad parts of the first one and kind of mitigated the good parts. They went in the absolute wrong direction. It was shit. And the stuff they did with the Americans, oh man, it was not good. It was cheesy. The first one wasn't cheesy.
Nope.
Like the violence and stuff was like over the top, but not cheesy. Nope. And like when they grind the guys up in the meat grinder, it's cheesy. Now they do that recently with the horror films on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like they did it right. They did not do it right. Anyways, this one looks a lot closer to the first one than it does to the second one.
That's true.
But if you watch the trailer has the director in there, like kind of going, hey, look at these other movies we did. Look how great they are. And most of the trailer is them showing you the previous films, which has me really worried. So I really want this one to be good. I really want it to be good, but I'm prepared for it to be a total stinker.
Same.
Yeah, I'm in no hurry to see it. Like, there's nothing about it that makes me want to go to the theater and see it.
See, I really want to see it because I loved the first movie. I thought
that's another reason to tell me I don't want to see it.
I love Taron Egerton. He was phenomenal in it. I love Colin Firth. Like the first movie was great. The second movie, just like you said, Dave, was just like, why? Why did we do this? There was a meeting about this, and someone actually said, okay, yeah, this is what we should do. And they all agreed on it. And I don't understand how that happened.
The writer and creator, man, like it was his story, like, and he stands by it still.
Oh God.
I don't get it.
Like I didn't like that Colin Firth came back to life. I didn't like that Channing Tatum. The fuck.
Channing Tatum was terrible.
It might as well have been John Cena in Bumblebee. Like it was that bad to me that I was just like, what's the point of this movie at all? Like the whole robot dog thing, and then for the fans there, you've got Elton John is captured, and
the
Taron
Elton
Egerton.
John stuff was the only part of the movie that I honestly laughed at.
Yeah,
like
it was funny, but it was still like
honest
why?
Laugh, but it was totally over the top and unnecessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the only part of the movie that I actually, laughed at.
So I am interested in this one because it does look like it's going to be a cool story. Going back to like World War One, it looks like they're just trying to reboot it. They realized they might have killed it with that last one, so they're trying to reboot it. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah.
And if they can get our interest back, they can probably try and go back to that timeline and get it going again. But if this next one were along that same, and it looked like it was even going to remotely continue that storyline with those characters, I don't know that I would have watched it.
Yeah.
So for me, this is the only way to get me back, was to go to this new group of people.
I do hope it's interesting. Like, again, the second one was just like, I love an anal sex joke as much as the next guy, but it just didn't need to be in there at all. Like, it just wasn't funny.
I don't even remember an anal sex joke, but
because it's his whole relationship with the princess of
they set that up at the very end
Sweden,
of the first
Norway.
one.
Yeah, and so they joke about it.
So they keep they keep it going. I only saw that
like,
that second one time and remembered
it's so bad. Jeff Bridges seems like he had a stroke.
Yeah,
I remember.
I love Jeff Bridges, and I also remember him being just completely terrible.
Yeah, it was not good. So anyway, that kind of takes us through the end of the year. Anything else? Anybody that wasn't on the either of these lists here that anybody else knows or is excited for? That's maybe just a little smaller kind of.
I mean, I don't really know anything else that's coming out this year. Everything's just kind of, I feel like a lot of stuff just kind of shows up now. I'm excited for the Maverick movie whenever that comes out. Like
next year. So that one is supposed to be. So let's see. So so the original list. Once we get past the Matrix, if you go, Scream 5 is supposed to come out early January 2022. We got Thor: Love and Thunder in February, Batman in March, the Paranormal Activity reboot in March.
David's going to see that in the theater.
I will actually see it in the theater, and I will make a point to do it in the most crowded theater I can find, because I feel like that's going to be the only way to watch that thing.
That's true.
Thor: Love and Thunder is set for May.
I'm super excited about that.
That looks great. Taika, I can't wait for that one.
I don't need anything other than the title and who's in it and who's directing it.
No idea what the plot line is. I don't care.
I don't care.
That's a take my money, please kind of thing. John Wick 4 is going to be out in May. Oof.
Yeah, I didn't like the third one.
The third one's not good.
Yeah,
the third one is all action, no plot. They can't be plot holes because there's no plot.
Exactly.
It's not a good film. The first one's great. The second one was good. The third one was unfortunate. And so I have no idea. I'll see it. Guaranteed I'll see it. But if this one sucks too, it might be the last one I see.
Yeah. Also in May, we've got the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I'm curious about that. It's got to be better than the last one.
Well, anything's better than the last one. I could script and write a better one with David's D&D group and film it on my fucking iPhone, and it'll be better than the fucking original D&D movie.
Yeah, I mean, I have high hopes. They've been taking fantasy very seriously nowadays.
Yeah.
And they haven't for years and years. So I think they're going to give it an honest and true treatment. And if they do, they'll have a huge fan base ready and willing to watch
already. Exactly. In June of 2022, Jurassic World Dominion.
Hopefully
the last one of these fucking movies.
I will see them in the theater.
As long as people see them, movies. They're going to keep making them.
Yep.
Not a single one of them's been good. You think another shitty one's gonna stop them from making yet another shitty one? Apparently not.
Black Panther 2 in July.
That'll
very interested to see what they do there.
Yeah,
I'm very interested to see how they do that. Excited for that one. Also in July, Indiana Jones 4.
5, actually, right?
No, it's 4.
Oh,
you skipped there. I see what you skipped. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's right. He's March. Yeah, he's March. Yeah. Both.
I'm excited for that one.
That looks.
I'm really excited for that one.
Wait, very Doctor Strange is in March, because I thought that Thor was in March as well.
May.
No, Thor's in May.
Thor: Love and Thunder's in May.
Yeah.
May, okay.
And it wasn't Doctor Strange directed by.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, I'm so in for that. I love Sam Raimi so much.
Yeah,
and that is the
although he did direct Spider-Man 3. I just read an article that
he acknowledges.
He said he almost gave up on superhero movies after Spider-Man 3 because of all the shit that he got for it, and he knows he fucked it up. But I think that was studio pressure too. A lot of that was studio pressure.
Because you look at the names that were in 3. It said, "Hey, we can get this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. Let's just put them all in. Put them all in." And then let's see,
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones 4.
5.
4. We've already discussed it. The fourth movie doesn't actually exist.
Crystal Skull is the best Indiana Jones film, Pete, and it is number 4.
Pete, here's the thing. If this one exists, this new one coming out, sadly, the last one has to exist.
It has to
They're going to be equally bad. This new one is going to be unwatchable. He's got to do it in a walker. He can't. It's going to be like that evening with Danny Glover I had last night. That's what we're going to have on screen. It's going to be miserably awful. There's no way that film turns out.
Who are they passing the baton to? Who's the new indie?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Well, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Okay. Yep. That's the rumor, anyways.
What is she playing? Mutt's
Diana
daughter?
Jones.
Is this?
I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it.
Granddaughter.
That's just
this great niece by marriage 3 times removed. Like, it's going to be terrible. There's no way this movie is not bad.
The biggest issue is, why do you have to pass the fucking baton?
Yeah,
if you make an Indiana Jones movie,
the franchise. Franchises are money, man. Right? So, and Disney's got to own this because this came with Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Then just reboot it. I would be much more happy if they just said, what?
No, it's we're gonna need a reboot. Just make another movie with a different character, does the same shit, and fucking
no. They've spent money on this IP. They have to use their IP. I agree with Pete. If it's going to be done, it's got to be a reboot. This
just restart it. And I'm not saying remake Raiders. I'm just saying it's just a completely different set of fucking stories with Indiana Jones, Dr. Jones as the character from the beginning, and just leave it at that. This whole like pass the baton, I'm like, well, we tried it and fucking
and maybe you run the new stories like in the gaps of the old movies. What does it fucking matter who Indiana Jones is?
Again, though, some of these, like, this is a perfect one for me where I'm looking at it. I'm like, why are we even making an Indiana Jones movie? Why is this not a fucking series on Netflix or something else? Like a la Tales of the Golden Monkey from the 70s.
Young Indiana Jones.
The reason for that
with River Phoenix.
The market is so inundated with streaming services now, and there's so much that you have to like catch lightning in a bottle, something like Game of Thrones that everyone has to see, and getting that is really fucking hard. There's a lot of great television out there that no one's watching because they don't have that streaming service. Whereas these big budget movies get everyone's attention. But they're trying to revitalize this franchise. I guarantee you, if this movie takes off, there'll be a series.
Because I feel like if they did go back and say, and just, again, like we were talking about rebooting it obviously wouldn't be Harrison Ford, but give me the other adventures of Indiana Jones in between Raiders and,
same Temple character. Just treat it like Bond. Like, just don't even acknowledge it. Just whole new guy.
Exactly.
Go. Keep telling the stories. It doesn't matter where they fall. Just straight up treat it like Bond, throw a new person in there, and go.
Yeah. No, I think that
do
would
it with
perfect.
Doctor Who all the time, and it works just fine.
People love it. They keep waiting to see who the new Doctor is going to be. Like, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get, I've been waiting for this one when I first heard it was coming out. In October, we're going to get another Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes. See, now that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Much more so than the Tobey Maguire live, or not Tobey Maguire. Oh, Jesus.
Well, no, he's going to be in it. It's the other list that I read. I didn't bring it in there, but both Tobey and Andrew Garfield supposedly are confirmed that they're in the movie.
For the animated one.
No.
The
live action.
I think
everyone's known all of that for a while.
Yeah. Well, no, because there was always a little bit of question whether Andrew Garfield was actually going to be in it or not. We knew Tobey Maguire came back for it, but the Andrew Garfield was questionable. But supposedly it's been confirmed.
Yeah.
I mean, ain't it cool news? Confirmed, but and then finally on October 14th, Halloween Ends. Like, that's literally what it's called. So maybe
that's the
finally,
third one. Yeah.
And so finally, that maybe they'll just end that trilogy there. And
I am really excited to see Last Night in Soho. I don't know when it comes out.
I saw
the preview for that tonight too.
Yeah,
Last
that
Night
looks
in
really
Soho comes out actually really kind of soon.
Yeah,
that was
October this month.
Yeah, I skipped over that just because it wasn't kind of in the
Edgar Wright is one of my favorite directors. I really like what he's been doing slowly over time. I liked him from the beginning, but just his newer stuff has been phenomenal. I'm always excited for his stuff. So this is a bit of a departure from what he's
psychological time travel horror.
Yeah, it looks good.
Rad.
Really good.
Diana Rigg's last film.
Great actors as well. And Forget her name.
So
the
really excited about that one.
And then let's see, we've got getting towards the end. Then finally, The Flash on November 4th.
That one's gonna be a trip, dude.
Could be DCEU's comeback.
No, we're okay.
Actually, it's not DC. Actually, no, it is DCEU technically.
Yeah, it is DCEU, but this is the one they're doing the whole Flashpoint with Michael Keaton.
Yes.
And his Batman. It'd be interesting. He was the only character in the first Justice League movie that I liked. Because he's the only light character in like the DCEU until Aquaman.
Yeah.
You know, and that was so over the top that it was crazy. But I liked him as the Flash.
I liked him even better in the Snyder Cut. I feel like his climactic scene was way better. You know,
so much better.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much better than this stupid fucking race.
Yeah,
guys, it's nearly 1 a.m. I don't think we want to talk about DC.
I know. That's what we're almost there
for us. So.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
So then we've got Mission Impossible 8,
which I have to assume will get pushed back if 7 gets pushed back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I feel like that one. Yeah.
Captain Marvel 2.
Marvels should be a big one too.
That's gonna be
because Miss Marvel's gonna show up in that.
Yeah, it's like they're calling it Captain Marvel 2, but it's the Marvels.
Yes.
Yeah,
which should be an interesting one. And then going then even into 2023, Shazam 2.
Yeah, I think 2023 is too far.
Yeah. But well, this is what it's being called. Last one on the list that's kind of been confirmed, if you will, is December 22nd, 2023 is when we're getting a Rogue Squadron film.
Is it a film or I thought it was going to be a series?
No, it's supposed to be a movie.
It firmly falls into the category of I will give a shit when I see something about it. It's so far out there and anything can happen. Like there is no point in putting the slightest bit of effort into caring about that.
No, you are completely right on that one. I will agree with that because that can be screwed up in so many different ways.
So many films were greenlit and canned in like a year period when they realized that they totally boned that whole fucking sequel series. They scrapped everything, and so
the idea behind this one is they're trying to do it kind of in the style of Rogue One, where it's kind of its standalone thing. It doesn't.
Rogue One was dope, and if they can recreate that, that's amazing. Yeah. That was for me the only film that Disney has made that felt truly like a Star Wars film and not like something that was pandering.
Well, it's easily the second. I mean, like we've joked, we've discussed this every time. Yeah, it's Empire, Rogue One, New Hope. Mm-hmm. Like it's those are the top three. Like,
I honestly have Rogue One is my very favorite Star Wars film.
See, I go back and forth on the day.
Every time I watch it, at the end, I'm always like, "Fuck, that movie's good." Yeah. Especially because it ends with that Vader scene.
Yes.
And you're just God. And all of it, and like everybody dies, and you're just like, God, this is
like if the movie had ended before the Vader scene, that would have still been a good movie. So in the theater, I'm just sitting there going, okay, the movie's over. That sucks. I thought they wwere going to be Knights of Ren, whatever. And then Vader shows up. I'm like, what? There's going to be us more? Like, holy shit.
Anyway, and they did that in there. I know, because we've talked about this on the show before. When Vader shows up and starts killing motherfuckers, it's just like, oh my God, this is the first time I was Vader I wanted to see. Yes,
exactly. I was ever scared of
before that, the original with a broomstick. Before that, really, like, you're like whatever.
Yeah, no. In the original trilogy, they talk about how scary Darth Vader is, but they never really show you how scary Darth Vader is.
Yeah, like even if you go back and watch it now, as the because I watched it kind of recently. Return of the Jedi, still good movie, great way to end off that original series, but the whole lightsaber duel between Luke and Darth Vader, it was what it was for the time period, but it's really clunky and really bad, and there is nothing about Vader.
All of the original lightsaber scenes from all of the films, they're all clunky and bad because they're just they were blown out of the water when you got to episode 1. And then it's only been improvement from there. And now they're animating like badass lightsaber scenes. And you've got every fanboy with way too much time at home and a glowing stick making their own videos that are better than anything that could have ever been done in the first couple of films.
Well, you just go to YouTube and just search Golden Gate Knights. KNIGTH. It's a lightsaber group in San Francisco. Right now, they're not offering classes, but you can go on a Saturday morning and take classes and learn lightsaber forms. And for what the 501st is for stormtroopers, the Golden Gate Knights and the other couple of Jedi groups go out and they're hired to perform and do this stuff. And you look at some of the stuff that they've done, and obviously some of these guys have extreme martial arts backgrounds, but dude, it's easily as good as any of the fight choreography that was done in any of the prequel movies, any of the sequel movies.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like
out of the water.
The old stuff doesn't hold up. Like
one of the problems with A New Hope is that Lucas envisioned lightsabers being heavy, he fighting like their broadswords, and and then somebody was like, "Yeah, dude, they're light, like they're literally made out of.
It should have no weight.
Light, yeah." So that kind of changed.
It should weigh a flashlight.
Ultimately, what he was going for were samurais, right?
Yeah.
So they were.
Well, you watch him. Yeah, you watch the way they hold the swords.
Oh yeah.
You watch the way they hold the swords. You watch their stance. I mean, they could be doing friggin' kendo, like for the way they're standing there.
It's why Visions is so nice, and to bring it back around here at the end because it's what he based it on. So it's why. When an anime studio takes it over and the story has a Japanese centric slant, it doesn't feel weird because it was always a slightly Japanese centric slant, because that's where he was taking a lot of his inspiration from. So it's really nice to see them go through it. If you go back and you look at old, like the concept art for the film, it was so heavily based on Japanese culture and the helmets and you can see it, and some of the old stuff is so cool when he looks. Everyone looks more samurai like than they do in the finished film. So, But
when Vader when that door opens and Vader walks in and just starts fucking killing people, I like that.
But he did it like they do in the video games, right?
Yes.
He's like stabbing people and flinging people and snapping necks and like chopping
throwing
people in half with his lightsaber, and just like while he's waiting for the lightsaber to come back, he's like knocking these guys together, and he's just using everything.
And it's because he doesn't give a shit. He's after one thing. He wants one thing, and everything else is in his way. So fuck it.
He is just gonna wreck whatever is between him and the one thing he's going for. And like they killed people in that movie. So like there was consequences, and that guy came in and you were like, oh shit, who's gonna die? Fucking everyone's gonna die. We know that those planes are getting away, but we know that it's a close thing. That's all we know. And it really was a close thing. And I really dug how that film just butts right up against the original. I mean, it is just like a handshake and then off to the races.
I do think though, without that Darth Vader scene, the Luke Skywalker stuff in The Mandalorian does not work as well.
Agreed.
Because it was the same thing. Because all of a sudden Luke comes out and you're like, oh, now Luke's doing some badass shit that we always wanted to see Luke do. I know we have to wrap this up, but that was always one of the hard things with like lightsabers and everything else. If you read the books and you were into the Star Wars expanded universe and you played any of the video games, the movies and the Jedi stuff from the original trilogy became a little bit of a letdown on rewatching it, because in your head you're like, oh, but wait, he can just force grab him and pull him closer. I can, you're using the Force to do other stuff. Like the only time we ever saw anything close to it wasn't even in Return of the Jedi, the last movie. It was in Empire when Vader's when they're in the freezing chamber and Vader's pulling, the random shit around to knock into Luke. And then you're like, oh yeah, he's got the Force. It's not just a sword fight. Like that's actually what a Jedi, this Force practitioner would do. This makes sense. And so it was so much more enjoyable. And with that, we'll call it an evening. Somehow, even though we're a little short. Yeah. God, we're still at just under 3. I don't know. I can't. Good Lord. Well, Andrew, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was so fun. So thank you for
good. Glad. I'm glad you had some fun. No show next week. But yeah, like, subscribe, the whole thing.
When we come back, Kevin's in charge for the show, right?
Yeah. Next time
at least I have 2 weeks to figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do.
That's right.
Yeah.
It won't be hard to top, Pete.
No, we'll just talk about Stargate.
Clunky concerted list.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy. Have a week. Bye. See, I'm still gonna do the fucking shitty like send out thing. I can't not do it. It's just the way it is.
You're the worst.
So I have very little to talk about this week, so you're all welcome.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up right into the...
Yeah, I don't have that much either.
To the list. Has anybody watched Midnight Mass or Squid Game?
I haven't.
No.
I've been wanting to watch Squid Game, but I'm wanting to watch that with my daughter, so that's why that hasn't started yet. And then I didn't know anything about Midnight Mass until like 2 days ago, and I haven't had time.
Did you see the haunting shows? Bly Manor.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, so it's Mike Flanagan.
And what streaming service is it on?
Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
I've heard nothing but good stuff.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard has been really, really good. So
yeah.
I started Squid Game and I didn't get very far just because I just got too tired. But all over my feed, everyone's just saying Squid Game. Whoa, like they're like supposed to be. So I mean, I'm ready to be shocked. I like twisted things. So yeah, we'll see how sideways this show can actually get.
I think it's slated to be the best or the most viewed Netflix show of all time.
That's what they keep saying. I saw a trailer I actually liked a lot too. Before the movie, it's a film called Lamb, and it's
heard of it, haven't seen it.
A24. All right, I posted the trailer on Facebook already, man. It looks weird.
It looks weird.
It's supposed to be messed up, dude. Yeah.
I mean, I was in. The person next to me was like, I don't get it, and I'm like, well, that's because you're kind of basic. But like, I was just like, this.
Yeah, it looked messed up.
I'm in, and I actually might mess me up because like, that whole Satan stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I want to fuel the imagination, but yeah, it looks weird.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the it's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm just reading, in rural Iceland, a childless couple discover a strange and unnatural newborn in their sheep barn. They decide to raise her as their own, but sinister forces are determined to return the creature to the wilderness that birthed her. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weirder than that, dude. It's weirder than that.
Yeah, like watch
that normalizes it quite a bit.
Yeah.
God only knows what I'd be without you. Like when you had that like happy music juxtaposed to like some sinister, creepy stuff, it's like yes. Yeah. Apparently, it's the same studio that did Midsummer, and I love that film as well. So it's like it's going to be like, just how messed up can this movie get? And I think for me, Midsummer just kept getting more and more and more messed up. So hopefully, this will deliver the same kind of haunting, long-lasting, unsettling fascination stuff.
Yeah.